I need you to get your car and come to Stephen Graham's place now. We have a little situation that needs clearing up.
If you're messaging me to get rid of a body...
That's unfortunate. I trust you're dealing with the problem.
And I tell Jim, we burn the house.
And I heard the sirens. They were on their way.
We can't expect to be rescued every time we do something slightly wrong.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this, the 5th episode of Blood on the Thames, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in London, England. And with me tonight are...
Carlos is the very... Moses, Nosferatu.
Sorry. So, hi, I'm Peter. I'm playing Benjamin, the Malkavian.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm playing Katia the Trainer.
Hi, I'm Philip. I'm playing Jim Roy Woods, playing Gabriel.
So we're going to leap straight into it, guys. Last week on Blood on the Thames, yes, I went there. The coterie, having continued their slowly escalating feud with Darren Fitcher and his associates, have... Wow. Are you okay?
Worst timing ever for me to start drinking water.
Or the best timing ever.
Yeah.
Continuing their feud with Darren Fitcher, have, as a consequence of this, found themselves acting under certain compulsions, whether they realise it or not. I'll give you a hint, they don't. One particular member of the coterie, Jim, took it upon himself to enact a revenge which he felt was better dealt swift than slow and prudent, and carried himself over to the house of Darren Fitcher himself, hoping to catch the individual. Darren had already gone, based upon what you could see, and there was another individual, you didn't know who he was, within the residence. Still desiring revenge, Jim carried on to another house, one of Stephen Graham, and caught the individual there, completely unaware. And in a moment of brutality, Jim killed Stephen by biting down into the skull, a death which was clearly supernatural in nature, or certainly not human in any sense. The slightly more aware Jim then made a call to Benjamin and coterie, and then over to Moses in order to gain help in disposing of the body. The results were mixed, to say the least. And in the end, everybody departed from the scene after Moses decided to set fire to the house, in order to try and obscure the evidence after mutilating the corpse. Once everybody had returned to the Haven, Jim, still under the more aggressive influence, has made his way out through the tunnels underneath the Haven in an attempt to go and do whatever he feels the need to do, whilst everybody else has returned to their rooms. Different rooms this time, in the case of Benjamin and... I think just Benjamin, yep. To avoid the fact that Mrs. Morovsky is planning to bring in more workers to fix windows, and that is where we left off last time. So, once more, guys, your humanity scores, please.
Humanity? Hunger?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
7.
6.
Oh,
no, 7. 7 is 7.
6.
Okay. Katia and Moses. You guys arrive slightly before everybody else to the sounds of footfalls outside of your doors. It's, certainly for you, Katia, a bit more alarming given that Mrs. Morovsky herself can't ascend to the levels of where you sleep. And after listening and regaining all your senses, you recognise it to be the voices of what sounds to be 3, maybe 4 men, going back and forth, going up and down the stairs, and you quickly surmise that these are probably the workmen that Mrs. Morovsky's brought in to fix the windows. It takes a while for them to move out, and it gives you enough time to kind of recover your faculties. And I mean, given the events of the previous night, you're happy to take the time to try and recover and gain your senses. Moses, you hear these noises, and when you click over on the security cameras within, you can see these men moving back and forth, taking down the quite jury-rigged coverings that have been set up over these windows, removing them and resetting the windows in place. They're doing a pretty good job. Mrs. Morovsky's keeping an eye on them as they're moving up and down. She's hovering at the base of the stairs, talking with one individual whom she's sharing a cup of tea with, and they seem to be going at a decent speed. And before long, just around the time that Benjamin's beginning to awake, everyone else is beginning to depart. Money's exchanged hands. Mrs. Moravsky sees them out to the door, and before long, you guys are once more awake in the hotel with the crossed hands, without anybody else apart from Mrs. Moravsky, who is just sat in her usual wicker chair downstairs. Jim, if he is up in his room, there is no sounds of him. He certainly hasn't emerged. But that's assuming he even came back from wherever it is he just went off to the other night.
While I'm sitting there checking on Mrs. Moravsky and the workers, I have those on the CCTV, so I go online to check whether or not I've had any reply from Alan Burr. And
You have 2 emails in your inbox. One in particular is from Alan Burr, from the department of Alan Burr, simply saying, I thank you for your message, and rest assured I am looking into the incident in question and the individuals. I will be in touch when I know more.
Oh, that guy's my hero. Bring it on. A little like hero crush. That guy's pretty cool, and it's a nice barrister, very ruthless. And how about the other email?
The other email you recognize immediately. It's a kind of, most people would assume it to be some sort of cluster of slang splashed together, but you immediately recognize it just to be Alice's, the kind of login name that she just put because she needed a login name and she just couldn't think of one, so she just put every suggestion you threw at her into one jumbled mess. And it simply says, have you ever felt the desire to rant?
Oh.
-A.
Oh, she's so mad. It's probably that kid Bradley. I hate Bradley. Now, I'm checking also the news. I want to hear about the fire, websites, and everything. I cannot text Lucy back. Oh my god, you're gonna owe me so bad.
Are you gonna get? What are you 2 doing before we?
What I'm doing is all of this, like just awakening, going into just sitting down, internet, news, emails, checking on Mrs. Moravsky until the workers leave, TV, zapping. While I want to know what is the story out from the media, because there has to be something.
Yep. And what are you 2 doing?
I hate to say this, but I assume I'm making a rouse check.
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
is making
yeah.
a rouse check.
I was wondering
Thank
when
you very
you'd get
much
to
for
that.
reminding me.
Well, you know, but got to be fair, haven't you?
I think this is from last session where we done the rouse check beforehand.
So, that's Hunger 4 for me.
Ooh!
Hunger 1 still.
No, Hunger 3.
I'm on Hunger 1.
Actually,
Hunger
you don't
1.
deserve it.
Hunger 1, Hunger 1, Hunger 4, Hunger 3. Yeah, apologies for that, guys. I normally do it when they wake, but last week we didn't. We did it off screen while we were sorting some other stuff out, so thank you. Benjamin.
So, Ben's never been at Hunger 4 before, ever.
No.
So I assume that this is extremely invasive.
The moment you've woken up, all you can hear around you is the incessant beating of, well, to the initial glance, it sounds like it's coming from the walls around you. It sounds like it's coming from directly on the other side of the wall, which you know to be the lobby. And as you kind of get up and move towards the door, you place a hand upon the door handle, and it almost feels, you know it's not, but it almost feels, certainly to someone that's as alert and aware as you, like the door handle itself is vibrating with this. And you recall only one other instance in your existence as a kindred where you felt this hungry. And as you step out of your doorway, I'm assuming?
Well, I'm thinking actually what I'm probably going to do is, I will be stepping out, but I'm going to get stuff ready so that I can go hunting.
Okay. You begin moving back and forth, getting all the bits and pieces that you've, in your limited experience, decided that you're going to take with you. But it's a task which takes twice as long as it normally would, or should, because you cannot help but hear and focus upon that incessant noise, and it is tantalizingly close. It's like someone that has not drank for absolutely ages being next to a body of water that is owned by someone else. Or multiplied exponentially just purely because it's overriding every other sense. And to someone as potent in all of his senses as Benjamin is, that is jarring. It's jarring being robbed of every other sense and having something that almost feels new and alien just overriding him. And then it begins to lessen, not the hunger that he's feeling, but the sounds as the individuals begin leaving, and all you can hear on the other side is of Mrs. Morozowski.
Okay, is there a way to leave the crossed hands without going past Mrs. Morozowski? Because Benjamin may be concerned he's not going to be able to pass Mrs. Morozowski if she's actually there in the warm beating flesh.
You could try going out of your shattered window. Oh no, you moved out your
No,
window.
I moved out so they could replace that
So
window.
in which case, apologies, in which case you could just go out the window.
At the fire exit.
Or the
Fire
fire
exit.
exit.
Yeah, I'll go out through the fire. I'll gear up for hunting, and I will. I think what he's doing, he's fixating on that house. Do you remember the one he saw when you thought that was quite a good? He's just going to go.
With a big dog.
Okay.
No, not that house.
Oh, the other
No.
Different one.
Different one.
Okay.
He's just going to go. I don't think he's going to be able to. He might start to scrawl a note and then just like no, can't handle it and go.
As you're writing, it's odd just how shaky your handwriting comes out. I mean, as somebody that paints and your hand is quite steady anyway,
Yeah.
and the fact that you don't move now unless it's on conscious impulse,
Yeah.
it's odd just to see how untrustworthy your hand is. So you quickly discard the note and go out of the window as quietly as you can, and it's surprisingly quiet given how eager and how strong your need is. And it occurs to you as you go out the window, just the fangs in your mouth have been extended since you woke, and it's odd. I mean, it's uncomfortable to you anyway. I mean, the very idea of having them there is just an incessant reminder that you're not human anymore.
Yeah.
And normally, once they're gone, you focus.
Yeah.
You don't really need to focus to keep them away, but now it's just there, and you quickly leave. Are you going by car?
I don't know if he'll trust himself to drive.
Okay. You go on foot, in which case it will take you longer than it did before, but it's not too far. It's still within the realms of your domain.
Yeah.
But at this point in the evening, there is still a lot of foot traffic. There are still people that are either leaving work late or people that are just going out and about for whatever shops they can get to before they shut, even at this hour. So there's still a lot of foot traffic, but you don't really notice them. You're just making a beeline to the direction you want. And when you get to this house that you surveyed before, that you know your way to, it gives you a measure of confidence in that you this isn't just brand new to you. You've memorized this house pretty thoroughly. I'm going to need a check from you.
Yep. What do you
I
want?
assume you're just going to go straight into trying to break into the house.
I think what I imagine he will do is he will find a spot where he can see the house, where he's not obviously, like if there's some kind of secluded corner or under a tree or whatever it is, somewhere out of the main light, to watch the house for a little while, kind of obsessively, to see if like the lights are off.
Okay.
Because he's the thing is, he doesn't want to have to talk to anybody. He doesn't want to have to actually interact with anybody. He just wants the blood. So if he has to wait, I mean, he may not be able to, of course, but I think what he'll try and do is he'll watch and wait for the right time, and then he will try and go in as sort of swiftly as possible.
Okay, in which case we'll say it'll be...
I don't mind, by the way, if this means that I'm here for hours, like he just wants the blood in the most effective way.
Since you are... I'm going to say it's manipulation plus stealth.
Manipulation?
Yes, because you are actively trying to make yourself look like you belong there. I mean, you're out in the open, you're under a tree, even under a tree, you are out in the open. So it's a case of kind of masquerading as something else, or at least masquerading as something that should be there.
Okay.
However, the difficulty for this will be 3. It'll be dropped from what it normally is because you've put in some legwork prior to this.
Okay. 2.
2? Okay. You can succeed at a cost.
I will.
Because as you are standing outside of the house, there is activity within. You can see the lights flicking on. You can see what looks to be a man and potentially his partner. I mean, she looks quite old, but they maybe it's a sister. But they are just moving and talking in the living room. The way that he stood up against the side, you're guessing that he's probably at a sink washing dishes or something similar. And he's talking over his shoulder to someone. And you can see upstairs, the only other light that's on is from drawn curtains. And based upon the pattern on the curtain, you're probably looking at someone that's maybe in their teens.
Okay.
Low teens, probably. You can't see any other you've watched the other windows pretty incessantly. There is no other movement from any other the only kind of change in this setup between these adults being downstairs is when the room right next to the one with the pattern on the curtains flicks on, and based upon the hazy kind of texture of the window, you're guessing it's a bathroom, and then it quickly goes back out. There is no other movement. You can succeed at a cost.
So what is that? Do you want? Are you going to tell me what the cost is, or am I going to suggest
the only one that you can get to
is the teenager in the bedroom?
Is the one upstairs.
Okay.
Which would require you to. Well, it's not going to be subtle getting in. I mean, you're going to be climbing out the side of a building to get in through that window.
Oh, so I might be seen climbing up the side.
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
I think that he will take the risk. Like he'll look around. If it looks like if he's got a window, he's got good senses. He can climb silently. He'll just have a go.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
He's got his hood up.
Okay. So with your hood up, you move towards the side of the building. You do a last long look down the side of the street, and then your hands seem to move of their own accord. Grasp what looks to be one of those wooden. I can't remember the names.
Like trellis or something?
Yeah, trellis that holds up the various vines and decorations, and you just begin scaling. You scale with surprising speed and ease up the side of this building, up towards this window. There's a slight overhang that you manage to place your foot on, and you lift yourself. And as you move towards the window, it's very, very slightly ajar, just enough that you can wiggle your little finger in, and you just pitch it, and then put your fingers and move it. And as you kind of glance inside, you realise that the individual within it's a double room, and there is a child in there that looks as though he should be 11, 12, maybe secondary school age, maybe slightly older, and right next to him is a 2-year-old that is sat up, wide awake, and just looks around at you. Doesn't say anything. It's just playing with what looks to be a blanket. Okay. And it's just looking.
Okay, well, I am going to silently. Is the teenager asleep?
Yeah, teenager's asleep.
I think I'm going to go and feed on the teenager.
Okay.
At this point.
I need another check as a result of your at a cost.
Yeah.
This will be dexterity plus stealth.
Okay.
What are your specialties?
I've got break-in, I think.
Yeah, so that'll apply.
Okay. So stealth.
This will be the same difficulty.
3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. You swing yourself in up onto the ledge, and in an almost villainesque pose, and it flickers through your mind. It's a curious thing that you kind of think of yourself as this, but it's only fleetingly, as you're just there with surprising balance, just watching towards some moving form of the bed right over next to you. You can almost reach out and touch him if you wanted to. But it's the other child that you're watching out the corner of your eye, and he's just sat up in his crib, just looking. Possibly younger now that you're looking at him. He can't be 2. Okay. I mean, he's not commenting, he's just staring at you. But you ignore him after the briefest of instances. Step off onto this carpeted floor, move closer over to the child, and just lean in and bite. How much are you taking?
If I can, as in if Benjamin's able to, I will take 2.
Okay, that is your aim.
That is my aim.
I require a willpower check from you.
Yeah, fine. So that is just it's not no hunger dice for that, is there? It's just my willpower. Is that right?
Plus 2 for humanity.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get another 2.
Yeah, you get an extra 2.
Blimey.
It's just as bloody well.
Yeah, you get an extra 2.
Blimey.
It's just as bloody well.
Better because if not, your friends.
1,
Oh, no, it
2,
doesn't count, does it?
3.
Okay. You lean in, and it is striking just how easily this flesh is to pierce, and how malleable the child is as you move him. He doesn't stir. The moment you bite down into him, he lets out a little gasp, and the child and the other bed just continues to stare. But you become less and less aware of everything going on around you as the blood begins to fill your lungs, and that hunger, that strange alien hunger that you are still unused to, just ebbs very, very slowly, almost torturously slowly. And you cradle the child to you as you continue to feed off of him, and it's only in that moment when you can feel his body going limp that you manage to snap yourself out of it and release him.
Yes.
And then you can still see directly in front of you that skin that's oddly pale given how little lighting is in this room, even with the nightlight going on, and these 2 bleeding pinpricks in his neck,
which I will lick to close.
You lick to close them, take the blood away. Your tongue seems to dart of its own accord over these streams of blood, and when you are certain he is presentable, you lay him back down. And
I will look at the toddler. Does the toddler look distressed, or does it look?
I mean, the more you look at it, it looks like it looks probably younger than a toddler.
Oh,
Now
so
that
it's
you're close
teeny-
enough to,
teeny
you're
tiny.
talking a child that's probably about 1.
Okay.
Either just going on 1 or
yeah,
before.
same.
I mean, old enough that it can support itself sitting up.
Yeah.
But not old enough where whatever you've done and the stranger in the room seems to at all confuse it.
Okay. I will very slowly slip back out.
It watches you and then just turns away and just starts hammering its hands on the floor, on the base of the crib. It lets out a gurgle, but that is the only noise you can hear other than the shallow breathing of the child as you climb out, step back out onto that ledge and just push the window back to. And you measure with your finger just where it was going to, because this is the kind of meticulousness you have. And then pull your little finger out and then just begin going back down. And it's odd how warm you feel. As you kind of glance down at your hands as you're scaling back down, they look almost flush and living again. But it's almost as though before your eyes they seem to pale.
Yeah.
And it's still striking just how strong that is. What are you doing now?
I will head away. I'll keep my head down while I'm heading away from the house. I won't go straight back to the... As in, I'm not going to walk like a beeline home, but I will work my way, just being a bit paranoid that someone might be following or something, and then eventually go back to the crosshands.
Okay. Katia, what are you doing?
Well, as far as I was aware, I had agreed. I had agreed the night before that I would assist in the hunting. So Katia wakes up after waiting for the builders to disappear. She'll tromp downstairs in a very oversized kind of cable knit sweater and very unkempt in general, and just have a general kind of like, "The fuck is Benjamin?" I mean, don't know why I'm complaining. And then I will tromp downstairs to see if Moses is up and about yet.
Okay. Mrs. Morovsky looks up and gives you a nod as you walk down. She has in her hands a paper that's already halfway through. She seemed on the verge of saying something, but then as you move past, she just returns back to the paper.
I'll get upstairs and then I'll rewind, backtrack a bit. Sorry, that was ever so rude of me. Good evening.
Good evening, love.
Has it been a good day? I heard the workmen up and about.
Yes, they've finished now. Let me know if they haven't done anything upstairs.
Absolutely, I will let you know right away. Anything interesting going on? I motion the paper.
Oh, you can read it after me if you want.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, thank you.
I'm afraid I'm a bit of a slow reader, though, so you have to wait.
That's all right, no problem.
But I can put it up in, I can leave it on the counter.
I can collect it off the counter, that's fine.
Where's, Benjamin?
Oh, is he I thought he might have popped out.
He's such a nice boy.
He is lovely, isn't he? I don't know quite where he's off to tonight, but you know these artistic types, they're all over the place.
I didn't know he did arts.
Oh, he's quite an artistic fellow. You know, I'm not sure quite how serious
I thought he
he's about
sold
it.
art.
I mean, maybe he does a bit of both. I assumed. I mean, he shows so much enthusiasm. He seems to have an eye for it.
He could do with decorating this place. It might bring in more people.
It's a good idea. I'll suggest it to him when he gets back.
Now you take care, love, and don't
will.
be up too late again. You're all sleeping in. It's not healthy.
I know it's not healthy. I should work on my assignments, you know, during the day. But I'm one of those night owls. You know, I just find it easier sometimes.
I don't know.
No, okay, no worries. Well, enjoy the rest of your paper. I'll catch up later.
I'll leave it on the counter.
Yes.
Don't forget it.
I won't forget. Don't worry. And I will continue down to Moses.
And she goes back to her paper. Moses, you can hear the of your door, and then the footsteps.
Well,
Oh yeah, because he's locked it.
Yeah.
I'm never unlocking that.
Okay.
Yes?
Moses.
Okay. Open the door.
Okay.
Put up, and I go
Evening.
back to the computer. Everything alright?
Yeah, I was I wanted to see if you found if anything had come up.
Yep. As you come down, he's flicking through what looks to be a BBC News story, which is coming up. And the newscaster is in the middle of going through what sounds to be some basic story about foreign affairs and something similar. And then they say this, and this is what gets your attention. Our top news tonight. Police are investigating the death of Will Sparring, 29, found dead on Bromley Road in London. The manner of his death is similar to that of Mary Polvitz, 16, whose body was recovered 6 days ago in Chatterham, South London. In further grisly news, the death of Stephen Graham, 36, is known to have occurred as a result of arson. However, recent news that has come to light suggests that it might be more than that, as members of the public have announced that they have witnessed... Apologies, guys. That they have overheard gunshots coming down from the early hours of the morning, despite the fact that the police have investigated and found no evidence of a weapon on hand. This harkens back to the incident on December 29th, where 2 bodies were found mutilated in Hyde Park. That body was later removed. Investigation will continue, and we will be touch on this further. And then she begins going on to further news.
Okay, so basically, I start writing. I knew there had been something more than what Jin told us. I mean, you don't get like a SWAT team for a normal robbery or whatever. I have an idea.
I hope it's less of a cock-up than Jim's idea.
Actually, it'll get rid of both of our unpleasant, let's say, acquisitions.
Well, at this point, I think I trust you more than the other two. Fire away.
Okay,
No pun intended.
Actually, now that you mention it, that is exactly my idea. Why don't we go and grab... We still have the remains of Tyler Adams because I was supposed to dispose of them.
Yes.
They were normal decomposition bodily, but his bones were there and all of that.
Right.
It was a disgusting mush. Like
Nice.
Mush. I need you to help me to make a bonfire and burn them. So I'll substitute the bones of the other guy for those.
Right. Where are we going to burn this?
Tunnels. We go through the back. I pop up the map.
Right. So firstly, a few questions.
Yes.
Where is the smell of rotting flesh and the smoke going to go? How is that going to dissipate through the tunnels?
Good for you to ask. Popping out the
If
map.
this comes up through any drains whatsoever...
No, that's the funny business. This system.
I don't think it's that funny.
Well, the whole thing is it's a closed off line, completely closed off, and it makes a really like long wind tunnel all the way from Denmark Hill to the connection.
Can you
that goes all
guarantee
the
me
way.
that not only is this 100% closed off, there will be no one else in these tunnels?
There should be no one in these tunnels. I've been monitoring them for like ever since we got here. Actually, that's our escape route if you ever need one. And I teach her what's the escape route. But also that the wind tunnel, no one should be there. And if there's anyone there, any smells they have are not going to be like that awful. Given the massive size of the area, you're just going to be blown away. It literally acts as a wind tunnel because it's being...
and there are no ways through... There are no little vents that lead to the surface in any place.
No, there shouldn't be. We don't have anything...
You keep using the word should, and
We're talking about like 3 miles of tunnel. I cannot assure anything, but I can assure that in this section that pertains to us, there's nothing. And if there's anything, it's the middle of winter. Not a lot of people going out, and if someone walks near like a vendor or something and smells something rotten, they're not going to hang around. Either way, I just want to burn those bones and bring them to wherever that's what I'm gonna. I have to leave you to it. I'll help you out, but I need to go out to figure out where they have the actual bones with Jim's fangs on the skull.
Yes.
Actually, just burn the skull.
Yes, we just need to swap the skulls. As long as they haven't already done a dental or some other examination, and they
doesn't matter even if they have done a dental and have the record and whatever. If they don't have the original at any other point, or the Masquerade is not breached.
Well, we don't have any other
records do not have as much weight as evidence.
Right.
I was quoting Alan Bird. He's really good.
Titus, would Katia know if there's any recognizable difference in kindred physiology from the bones? So would there be actual dental proof of this being kindred skull?
Well, the one for Tyler.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's if they get it and it's still in a state of rapid decomposition. Because depending on how long
if all the flesh was 100% burned off and all we have is a charred skull, similar to the charred skull of Stephen,
it should be fine. I mean,
so there's no like fangs or anything teeth-wise.
To be honest, I think it varies between kindred. I mean, there are some kindred which, in the state of death, if they're particularly old, might have fangs. There have also been neonates that have been put to death that don't. But then again, in those kindred cases, it's a case of very slow kind of decomposition, especially if they've been embraced within a year. So, shy of, going and actually checking the skull.
Well, I probably intend to
do
that
anyway.
Exactly
what we're going to do, because then we're going to put it in a place where we have like a strong cross current, because of those, like, have you ever been in a mine and you have that pressure differential that creates like a wind tunnel? That is pretty much what we're looking for. So we can burn it in a barrel and do like a little barbecue for just the skull, because that's the only piece I'm going to swap, because that skull that has no fangs. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna die doing that, so I'm just gonna
I say we light the fire and then get the heck out of there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I take her to Tyler Adams' remains. So we go out into the tunnel. on the way to Denmark Hill, where I hid the remains of Tyler Adams.
Okay.
It might smell like really bad.
Trust me, I smelled worse.
Okay. Well, probably it's not gonna smell that bad because Benjamin put a lot of bleach on this, and we dig. Yeah, well, not dig, just open with the flashlights until we find like the skull.
There are no fangs on Tyler Adams.
Okay.
No, grab it or not, but like inside out.
Before you guys continue, prior to their advancement down this tunnel, Jim, you are one of the last ones to wake. And as your senses slowly return to you, the first thing you are aware of is there is a sharp pain going through your fingers. And as you glance down, you find you're talking about a dozen rodents, which are slowly eating away at you. As your body slowly returns to become mobile, your fingers just flex, and immediately the rodents that are squeak and just dart away from you. You could almost swear one hisses as it scampers off. They all immediately just dart away as you look down at your fingers. Most of them are pretty
Nibbled.
bloody. They've been nibbled recently. It's not extensive damage, but you know, there's blood already on your hands.
Yeah, fucking hell. And Jim's going to continue what he was doing the previous night and trying to find Tyler Adams' remains.
Tyler Adams remains.
Yeah, because he's aware
doesn't
they're around
know where
here.
they
Doesn't
are.
know where they are,
That's the thing.
but he's going to be searching.
It takes you a while before you realise that you've gone far too far in this tunnel to recover these remains. Are you doubling back?
Yeah.
Okay. You scooping up the hammer that was led against the wall next to you, you begin making your way back and you can hear voices further up the tunnel. And even in the dark, you note the rough outlines of your companions. And it takes you a few moments as you guys are going over the skulls. Skull. Yeah,
He's
sorry. Foretelling. As you're looking over the skull, you can hear a very, very soft tread.
Foggy?
It's-
That's my instinct. Foggy?
And as you kind of glance over, there is no foggy there, but then as you glance up, you can see a rough outline in the tunnel ahead. You recognise it to be Jim already. You've not known Jim long, but he's got a very particular stance. And you're both at the very far ends of this tunnel. Not farthest ends of this tunnel by any stretch, but far enough that you can see each other in the.
I can see that they've got the skull.
Just go with a flashlight. Like, it's the simplest.
Yeah. As a.
It's Jim. It's Jim.
Evening, Jim.
So, is it good?
Well, I'm satisfied for now. We haven't got another option.
Okay, one of the plastic bags, upside down. Okay, carry this, I'll put this together. And then put it back where it was.
I'm sorry, did you want something?
Jim takes a couple of steps back.
Okay. Are you leaving or just taking a few steps?
Just taking a few steps back.
Okay. There is no response from Jim. Cassia swishes around her skull in a bag.
No response from Jim?
No.
Flash at him again.
Please don't.
You just get a full flashlight in your eyes.
Does he look like he might be on the verge of frenzy? I've seen Alice a lot. I've been with Bruya a lot. I know how to tell an impending frenzy.
I mean, it's
half of the time.
It's difficult. Frenzies, unless the individual is making a concentrated effort of will to hold it back.
Exactly. That's
most of the time.
Does it look like that? That's what I'm looking for. Because I know he's not hungry. He just fed last night, draining from a skull. But he might be angry. And that's the type of frenzy I think I could maybe say, oh, he's holding back. He already frenzied yesterday. He might frenzy again. That's my thought. Right now. So I'm just checking. Does he look like he's struggling to keep it together?
Jim looking at them, lips slightly curling, takes another step back.
Yes, it looks like he's trying to keep it together. That's a mental note thing. Do you have a flashlight? Let's get out of here.
See you later.
So I turn off my flashlight, and I walk behind Katya with hers.
Oh yeah, I do have.
But I remain in the shadows. Okay. So unless he has a flashlight more powerful than whatever he can get with a screen on his phone, I stay in the shadows, watching over her, keeping an eye on Jim.
Okay.
You have an Nosferatu bodyguard. Who would have thought?
As you are returning to the Haven, Benjamin, you come inside just in enough time to see Mrs. Morovsky on the phone.
I'll let him know. Right, thank you. No, thank you. The charming man.
And then,
oh, hello,
Benjamin, dear. Someone just called for you.
Oh, for me? Oh, right. Who's that?
Mr. Chase.
Oh, Mr. Chase. Goodness. Did he leave a message?
He said he was going. Where did he say he was going? He said he's looking forward to seeing a performance at a theatre with you.
Oh.
Tonight. I wasn't.
Late night.
Oh, well, that's a lovely surprise. Did he say which theatre and what time?
I think he did, but I don't recall.
Oh. Right.
Oh no, time to reverse.
Could you try very hard to recall what time he said and what theatre? Or the show, the name of the show. Did he say what the show was?
Kinky Boots.
That's not
I mean, it's coming in March. I'm going.
A play about Victoria, I think.
A play about Victoria. I'm sure that will be enough to find it.
No, Victoria Theatre.
Oh, the Victoria. Oh, marvellous. Thank you.
I don't know the play.
That's fine.
I'd assume you did if you were going.
Well, I've only just found out I'm going, you see.
Oh. He seemed assured that you were meeting him.
Well, I think he's the sort of person that when he gives an invitation, he expects it to be accepted. I think that's what.
Well, that's quite presumptuous. Do you want me to call back and tell him no?
No.
Your time's your own, Benjamin, dear.
Oh, no, it is. But in this case, no, I would. That's fine. No, that's all good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ross. No, it's very kind of you to offer. I'm sure, but no, it's fine. I will go and find out what the showings are. Are the others here?
Katia was downstairs with,
Oh, with Jonah?
Jonah.
Yes, I'll go and...
I love Jonah. He's such a lovely man.
Yes, he is.
He made me a cup of tea once, and it was very nice.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Would you like a cup of tea, dear?
That's very kind, but no, I've already... I've just had some, actually. Is it all right if... I don't suppose you've seen Roy. Has Roy...
I haven't seen him.
Oh.
He went out the other day. I didn't see him come back. He
Oh.
must have come back after I fell asleep.
Yes, that's probably what it is. Oh, well, thank you ever so much, Mr. Morowski. I'm going to pop down and see the others.
Now, don't have another late night. All of you all coming in at silly hours.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to be at the theatre. I'm not quite sure how long the show is, but I'll come back as soon as I can, I promise.
Well, enjoy your play that you don't know what it is.
I most certainly will. Thank you. And I'll go down to I suppose, to Moses's.
Yep. So, Moses' door, as he said, is always locked. But as you guys are emerging from the tunnel, you can hear...
Oh.
Hello? Knock.
What is probably about your 8th hello.
Yeah. Hello?
Come on in.
Is it still locked? I'm figuring it is. I'm saying... It's not funny, and nor was not saying you were here the first time I asked. I know you're down here. Now please unlock the door and let me in.
Go in, open, like, literally, but with a very serious face, and open the thing. I thought Katya had left it open. Come in. And after you close the door, like, sorry, we were in the tunnels. We were looking for Tyler Adams' call.
What?
Here.
Actually,
Catch.
we were.
What you catch is a very soggy-based bin bag. Essentially, you can feel the liquid of whatever it is more than the actual skull itself.
This is horrible. Why would what?
I thought it might be a good artistic reference for you.
No.
It's sort of hard to
I
think like
need
me.
you to. Okay. Was Jim following us at any point?
No. Jim watched them leave.
Cool.
Shall we lock the door?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay.
What are you doing with... What is happening?
You guys are doing a barbecue. And I'll figure out where the other skull is on the...
Are we going to do... is Jim invited to this barbecue? Are we just going to light it and leave him down there in the tunnels?
I don't know about barbecues, but I've been invited to the theatre.
That's very all good and well, but we need to burn that skull and replace.
I haven't yet found out. Mrs. Mirowski wasn't clear on the details, but it's by Michael
you
Chase,
mind-
so I have to go.
Which theatre?
The Victoria Theatre.
Wait, Elysium.
By Michael Chase, the Toreador Primogen.
Is this
Yes.
some? Of course, you wouldn't say anything obvious over the phone. Is this something that is this a kindred gathering event? Is something we're all meant to attend? Did he say it in some kind of coded fashion?
You have to understand. He spoke to Mrs. Mirowski. Mrs. Mirowski barely remembered the name of the theatre,
Right.
let alone
Do
any
you
clever
owe
sort of.
Why don't you
anyone
speak
a
to
boon?
Edmund?
Owe anyone a boon?
Does
No.
anyone owe a boon to you?
No. How would I mean?
Why is
Listen, calm down. Why don't you call Edmund? He can probably, if this is something that all kindred are meant to attend, he could illuminate you. If it's not, then I suppose it's your problem.
Yes. All right. Yes, that's a very good point. I'll call Edmund. He'll know what to do.
That always calms
Yes.
you down.
I'm texting Alice.
Yes.
Do you know of any events in Elysium tonight or any of these nights? And I just leave that message on the text.
So I should call Edmund now. Well, last night we talked about lots of.
Sorry, yes, Moses has come up with an acceptable plan.
Yes.
Moses?
Yes. What?
Did you want to tell Benjamin your plan?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go and get Stephen's skull.
You're going to get Stephen's skull?
Yes.
Good. How?
I'm just gonna replace that one for Stephen's.
He's a sneaky bastard. He
But
can
this,
do it.
I mean, this isn't even a. I mean, this is.
That's why we need a barbecue. I burned the house. Now we need to replace a burnt skull by another one. So even though it's not a perfect replica, it'll distract them long enough for us to destroy the actual skull. So they have no evidence that we broke the masquerade.
Well, they will, because won't they have taken pictures of the body?
Yeah, nice pictures. Where is the skull?
Well, but there are still pictures that would be a
Yes.
breach of the masquerade. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm not sure the prince will be. Oh well, you got rid of the skull.
Pictures
We'll let the
that-
pictures go. I don't think
Pictures
he's going
that
to say
can
that.
be manipulated. They don't have that much of
If
weight.
they're
I
stored-
suppose
If
yes.
these pictures, if they're stored on some sort of database, I'm sure that's something that that Moses has some affinity for.
All right.
And if there are any physical copies
Do-
around,
do
and I
we-
see them, but I'm not going to be looking for them.
Do you know through your means where Stephen's body is?
Actually, that's what I'm writing to the storyteller.
So you're working on it. Is that what I'm to understand? All right. And we but how are we going to burn it?
There's a couple of like steel barrels, like normal steel barrels that were left in the things.
Yes.
Well, gather something like charcoal or whatever, and a small like a grill.
Oh, all right.
Would I have
Make
some
a
kind
barbecue
of
in a
flammable
barrel.
chemicals?
Do you want to have flammable chemicals?
It's a very good question. I believe if I would, they wouldn't be stored in my bedroom.
Probably not.
Probably not, no.
Probably in Benjamin's bedroom.
Probably. I actually really like the canon of that.
Was I educated about the dangers of fire?
Oh yes.
Good. Right. Okay. I'll say. How are we going to? I don't think I want to light a fire. I understand fire's bad. Very
Don't
bad.
worry, you won't have to. Besides,
Oh, fine. Good.
Moses set a very well, apparently an excellent fire yesterday without repercussions. He seems to be an expert. I'm sure he'll handle it.
Oh well, if Moses is going to handle it, that's fine. Good.
Do I need
I
to
don't
roll?
suppose.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you've seen Jim, have you?
Yes, he's also down in the tunnels. I recommend we.
He looks about to frenzy again. He was holding it together. I think he's really angry.
You mean he's trying to keep himself? Well, I'm glad he's trying. That's good, isn't it?
It certainly makes a change. Yes.
So Moses is going to burn this skull.
Yes.
We are
rolling
to do anything. Are we?
So, well, we need to obviously wait for the flesh to completely burn off.
Yes.
So there is some time there. So, I mean, feasibly we'll have a couple of hours. I don't know if Moses is planning to perform his heist of the actual skull in the meantime, or kind of swap them at the same time. I imagine that makes more sense.
I would assume he would.
In which case, we have a few hours, I suppose. I suggest you use that to find out what this engagement this evening is all about.
Oh yes, that's a very good idea. Because in fact, it might be very soon.
It might be very soon. It might
because,
be.
well, I mean, yeah.
Priority.
Figure out if you have to go now. Like call your sire.
I'll do that now. I can't get any signal down here, so I'll go up.
There is better signal here than in your room.
Is there? No, because we're underground here. It doesn't work that way. Does it? All right. Fine. I'll get out my phone.
It's true. You do have better signal.
I'm expecting it to be a joke, but now I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, this is the best with the best. This is the place with the best reception.
So I'll move to a discreet edge of the room, or maybe just outside the door, and I'll phone Edmund.
Make sure Miss Mirovsky can't hear you from outside the door.
Do I think I'm within Mrs. Mirovsky's?
Go into my room if you want to.
I'll go into his room.
Unless she's got her ear pressed.
I was going to say I'm not sure Mrs. Mirovsky's got like super awesome hearing, but we'll see. I'll go.
To be honest, if Mrs. Mirovsky can hear you on the phone where you are, it's probably a worrying thing that she could overhear a lot of what you have been saying.
Yeah.
I meant if he was going into the corridor to call.
yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean in the corridor she'd hear you. Yeah, it's not a very long corridor on the first floor.
Okay, I'll go and call my sire then.
Okay, right. Before you do that, and before we get with your role, and before we discuss whether you got flammable chemicals, Jim.
Oh yeah.
Where are you going now that you've seen where the body is? The fact that they've taken the body back of Tyler Adams.
Just the head.
Just the head? Are you going
We took the head. The
the
rest
body's
is
still
dead.
there.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the bag
Plenty of bones left.
and go try and find a deeper area into the tunnels. Just
Okay.
a deeper area.
Okay. These tunnels are quite long. I mean, there's plenty of stretch for you to go down. What are you looking for?
Just potentially an area that actually maybe has a depression in, something like that.
Okay.
So that's something they might go into where.
I mean, these tunnels. I mean, the fact that they're old and they're not manned by anyone but Moses, pretty much. They are in various states of decay and ruin, and it's easy enough for you to find amongst the cement and all the other kind of indentations in the wall and the unevenness in the flooring. You could find somewhere that is a depression.
Yeah.
So you found one. It's about coming towards the end of where this tunnel is. It's a good deal further than where your coterie mates were stood and you had your interaction with them. What are you doing?
I'm gonna pull the bones out of the bag.
Okay. They are slick.
Yeah.
And the smell, particularly to your strong sense of smell, even though you don't breathe, and you do it now out of a habit, as Alicia taught you to do, it's repugnant. More so now than it was before, apart from now it has a very slight smell of bleach still attached, which somehow makes it worse.
I'm gonna focus on not breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, as I open the bag, and I'm guessing there's still stuff covering each of these bones.
What, flesh and...
Yeah, flesh. Flesh.
Very little bit, but it's there. It's at this point, it's kind of like if you picked up one of the arm bones and gave it a shake, the flesh would just drop off.
So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be basically dropping all the flesh into the bag and separating the bones from the flesh.
Okay. It's a pretty quick process. I mean, you are talking quite literally about picking up an arm and just running your fingers tight across the top, and the flesh just peeling off. Your finger feels... I mean, even someone that is accustomed to like having your hands in somebody else, it's quite disgusting. I mean, if you looked at this mess long enough, you could see that it is very slowly decomposing in front of your eyes. What are you doing with the remains?
So the flesh I've now got in the bag and put that aside. Each of the bones I'm going to take them one at a time, put them in the depression, and start hammering them until I can get them into as close to powder as possible. So each and every bone.
Okay. You go over this with frightening intensity, moving from one end of the bone to the rest. As soon as it moves, moving it back in the center and just going at it again with the hammer, and again and again. And you can hear the of the bone just cracking. And to anybody else, it's quite a sickening sound, bone break. But you relish in the break and the separation, and you move them another one in and begin on that, and another one in and you begin on that, and soon this tunnel is just filled with the sound of metal on concrete. And then finally, after a good 15-20 minutes, you finally have this powdery, slightly gooey mush that's left. There's still a slight bit on there from the slickness of the bones, but it's not enough where
So
it's not. Yeah, there's no chunks left. Put it that way.
And so all the bones now.
All the bones have been as close to powdered as you could get.
Yeah, I'm gonna look in the bag, see if there's any other plastic bags or something like that.
Nope. I mean, the bag itself is double bagged. I'm
Double
pretty certain you would have double bagged.
Yeah, I think we did.
One
double
always
bag everything.
double bag.
One always double
Darling.
bags. So there is the exterior bag, but that's it.
I'm going to carefully remove the exterior bag and place the. I'm going to remember where I've left all that stuff. Take the gooey crap and carefully put it back in the hidey hole, knowing where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to return to where the powdered bones are, scoop them into the bag, and then head out, and not through the haven, but through another way. Out
Okay. Where are you aiming to go?
to any nearby graveyard, cemetery, anything like that.
Okay. I will get from you then an intelligence and streetwise check. Are you doing with this within the domain, or do you just not care where?
Not care.
Okay, right. It will be difficulty
2. I'm going to willpower that.
Yes, that is a peaceful failure.
Oh!
Two successes. It takes you a long moment.
Do you have like free willpower now?
No. Not on full
Keep
power.
remember at the end of start of each
yeah,
session,
you can
one
get
does,
session you get.
one does recover. One superficial damage to your willpower recovers. Not an
It's
aggravated.
equal to your composure or your resolve, whichever's higher.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I mean is superficial recovers, aggravated will not.
Yeah.
Not until you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes you a long moment as you have these contents, and I mean the bag itself, when it had the mush in, was heavy. You were surprised actually if the black bag could take it, because let's face it, mush or not, that is the contents of a man that is in there. A diminishing man, but a man nonetheless. And after you've changed for the bones and you've gone wandering down this tunnel, it's not only difficult to try and recall where there is the closest graveyard, it's also trying to remember, one, where each point will turf you out, and two, roughly whereabouts you are at the moment. But a long kind of moment of forcing yourself to focus, to waylay your frustration and just focus on what you're doing. You finally manage to make your way back up onto the street level. You manage to climb out through the subway tunnels and through this ruined area that you guys have managed to cave out, and come out onto the street where there is no one around. And it's almost like with a moment of you being given a break, you manage to make your way just straight there. There is no one there. There is no one in this field. There is no one outside of it. And as you move into this cemetery, what are you doing?
I'm going to scatter these powdered remains as if I'm scattering ashes.
Okay.
Like slop.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes it with a little bit more dirt, maybe.
yeah.
I mean, if anyone is looking, unless they are close enough to actually see what you're doing, it does look like you're scattering remains. I mean, people might question why you're scattering remains over like other people's things, but if anybody thinks to question this solitary, dangerous-looking man on what he's doing, they don't do it. Perhaps wisdom won out. So you make your way, scattering these remains. Are you doing it in one place, or are you?
I'm spreading it
all
out.
over?
Spreading it out.
So it takes you a good while to get this over the extent of this entire graveyard. But before long, the load you're carrying gets less and less and less until it takes you rummaging right down to the bottom to get anything to scoop out and throw, until you finally got to the point where you just upend the bag and it just goes. What are you doing now, Jim?
Then I'm going to move around the area, see if I can find maybe any maybe home person with some like with a maybe little fire going somewhere, maybe somewhere run down, secluded.
Yes, Jim, look for fire.
Yes.
You're looking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be another check.
Yeah.
Are you going to be asking people, or are you going purely off memory? That you're likely to find fire lit in London?
Yeah. Asking, but trying to.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll say charisma plus streetwise.
Oh God.
You're so charismatic.
Yeah. I got 2 dice.
You're really not. I mean, I'll tell you what. We'll say charisma plus intimidation.
That gives me 2 dice.
Is that better or worse?
It's the same.
That gives me 3 dice total.
Okay.
So,
Slightly better.
that's 1 success.
Okay, that's all you need. It doesn't take people long to kind of direct you towards. There's numerous people which, given how cold it is, there are people that have lit somewhat out of the way fires to stop people from being branded a nuisance and getting unwanted attention coming from people lighting actual fires in places. But you do manage to find one of the big durable bins outside of a restaurant, which whomever was responsible, they're not there now. But a fire has been lit. You're guessing it's probably an act of vandalism because the lid's been shut and the plastic is slowly melting from inside. But there is a fire inside there, you can tell that. And based upon on the very edge you're hearing the sound of a siren, you're probably guessing there's going to be a fire truck on its way at some point. Someone's probably called it in. Either that or it's police.
No, you'll be still looking around for somewhere where maybe someone is actually tending over the fire, where it's out of the way, not for an actual act of vandalism, one that could be going on for a while. Yeah.
Okay. That is going to be harder to find, just purely because, I mean, the whole fireside lighting, it's harder to do without drawing unwanted attention, because just having fires going out. I mean, you can do, I'll say for your one, you manage to eventually, it takes longer, but you do manage to come across someone that's basically gotten a hollowed out shell of a bin and has just lit this fire. It's probably not in the best place, because you are coming closer and closer now to a stretch of greenery with trees. And probably not the best place to light a fire, but they're doing it anyway, and they're getting away with it from what you can tell. How long, you don't know, but you manage to come up next to this individual. He just kind of gives you a look over his shoulder and then just goes back to warming himself. He's clearly been out there for a while because he's visibly cold, despite the layers of old and tattered clothing that he's wearing.
I'm going to kind of remember where it is and then get back into the tunnels.
Okay.
Try and stealthily but still quickly get back in the tunnels.
Okay. And then you're going
to get the rest of the mains back to double bag it and then get it on the fire.
Okay. You do all this, you move back, you get the rest of the mains, you double back over towards this fire. It is still going, it's not as big as it was by the time you did before, but as this guy's just kind of hunched over it, just trying to keep himself warm, you move over towards him. He looks around at you again as you approach and you just dump the bag on it, and he looks on the verge of about to saying something in anger, but then as the fires slowly creep higher, he just stops and goes, "Thanks, buddy," and just goes back to it.
I nod as I walk away. Yeah, I know how to get rid of a fucking body. Fuckers.
So, now we'll pop back to you guys. Oh, before I do, where are you heading?
I'm at the moment. Jim's slightly more meandering around, sort of trying to gloat to himself. Like, yeah, I know how to get rid of a fucking body.
Okay.
No fun, this fucker.
Right, you begin making your call, Ben.
Yep.
Okay. It rings. The phone rings, and it rings some more. And then finally, hello.
Oh, hello. I was wondering if Mr. St. Clair was there.
Is this Benjamin?
Yes.
and you can hear the sound of footsteps and the sound of a door shutting. In the distance, you can hear what sounds to be like something crashing against something else. I'm afraid this is a very inopportune time for you to be calling, Mr. Green.
Oh, well, I don't want to bother him if he's busy.
I'm pretty certain that he'd answer the phone if I let him know that you were calling. I'm just not sure it's the wisest time to do that.
Could I don't suppose if you know if he has any arrangements for this evening, if he's planning to maybe...
Any arrangements he's had, he's just cancelled.
Oh. I don't suppose you know if he had an arrangement.
The only way I can find out for certain, Mr. Green, is to put you on the phone with him.
And you don't think that's a good idea? Because sometimes he does like to talk to me, but if
Would
he's
you like
busy,
to speak to him, Mr. Green?
Well, always. But if he's busy and doesn't want to be disturbed, then of course not. I don't want to bother him.
I would highly recommend you call back later, Mr.
Oh, all right. Thank you for that. Do pass on my regards.
And then you hear it as the phone drops, and then the of a phone being picked up. Who is this?
Does that sound like Edmund to me?
It doesn't.
I'm hanging up. I'll go back to these two.
So did you find out what you needed?
No, I didn't find out.
Is he obviously trembling like a rat?
I'm quite disturbed. Yeah.
Is everything okay?
I have no idea, but I don't know. Someone came onto the phone. It sounded like someone. The person I was speaking to, I think he's a member of his staff, very abruptly was not on the phone, and then a voice I'd never heard before picked up the phone and asked who was on the phone, and I hung up. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure Edmund can take care of himself.
It doesn't solve your problem though.
No, that's true. Do you think he's all right? You don't think I should go and check on him, do you? If something could have happened to Edmund. Oh no.
Well, the person.
Or maybe I should go.
Hold on.
But what if someone could do something to?
Calm down. You spoke to one of his staff, yes?
Yes.
Did they say anything was wrong with Edmund?
They said he wasn't in a very good mood. They did say that. Or no, they just said it was a bad time.
Well,
they said it was a bad time, and they strongly advised I didn't speak to him, and then that it was like they dropped the phone.
Well, think about it like this.
Maybe something happened to them. I don't know.
If something had happened to your sire, presumably his staff would. Well, it doesn't seem logical to.
I don't know. I panicked because I heard this voice and they sounded scary, and I thought, well, I don't know. I just panicked.
Did the member of staff, did they sound like they might be lying, that they could be attempting to cover up something?
No, I don't think so. They
Are
seem
you sure?
perfectly polite. It's just the way they very abruptly. It was like they dropped the phone, but then someone else picked the phone up. Right. Don't you think that's a little bit? And it was, I don't know. There was something about it.
Does your sire have any business partners, contacts?
Oh, well, he knows all sorts of people.
Romantic interests.
Well, I don't know about that. Certainly, there are lots of people interested in him. I mean, he's Edmund Sinclair.
Of course.
Sake.
But have you ever encountered him dealing with other members of the society who might have a temper on them, or could they be anyone you might?
Well, I mean, he deals with lots of our society and lots of the art world, and I know that he was particularly looking forward to showing my latest piece to Edward Colbert.
Right. Well, we still need to find out whether there is something happening this evening. If there is, it will be an opportune time to find out what transpired.
But the staff member said that Edmund had cancelled all of his appointments for this evening.
Right.
So
there might be one.
But what if something's happened to him? What if? I don't know. I don't know. I'm worried now.
Listen, I'm sure your sire is able to watch out for himself.
I mean, he's very capable, but I'm just saying, it just seems very. I don't know. Well, I think I have to go to the theatre, don't I? Because I have to go. Because
Wait, hold on. Moses, is Moses there? Is he kind of
Oh yeah.
receptive?
Yeah.
Is there a way to
But he just moved sideways, so instead of you looking at him on the side, he's more like slightly facing you.
Moses, is there a way to play back or trace the phone call that Miss Morovsky received earlier? I can't remember. Is this before they did the reverse thing you could do on phones?
What, 1471?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if you could do that. Then.
Let me have my
Have you
roll,
bugged the phones?
and I do. Well,
Did you bug the phones?
Have you bugged our phones?
It's an outrageous claim that I would tab on our phones, but yes, I did.
But entirely, yes, exactly. I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Not your mobiles, it's okay, but the phones of
In
the
that
area,
case,
they're
can't we
part of
simply find out?
security.
Can't we
It's-
simply listen to the call Michael Chase put forward?
For me or Jim?
Jim.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, can I run that after I run this search?
Of course. Just stay calm. We'll find out what this is all about.
Does my specialty apply for that search? Networks?
Yeah, sure. And this is to deduce.
Place, so, yeah.
Okay.
I have, one die that is wonky, but it's a hunger die, sadly. And this die is a 9. So 1 success, 2 successes.
Okay. It's not difficult to find out where this call came from. It did come from a landline from the theatre itself. The Victoria Palace Theatre. And you could, in theory, just call them back up. What else specifically are you trying to do?
If there is, like, the recording. Just the recording of the...
the recording for the phone call.
That should be, like, okay, how many calls have we had? Yeah, it did come from the Victoria Palace, and this is the file. And if I find it, I just put it on the speakers while I run my second search.
Okay. The file itself you don't manage to pull up. It's the only extent of the conversation you manage to get really is based upon the recordings that you have, the security footage of Mrs. Morovsky on the phone. You get her side of the conversation.
Okay.
But Mrs. Morovsky's responses tend to be a bit scattered. And the silence that she has tends to suggest that she's being more spoken to or spoken at rather than spoken to. But she seems perfectly happy with the conversation as it goes on, as you overheard it towards the end.
She's delighted with the man. Charming man.
Well, I mean, Michael is very charming, don't you think?
We work on very different definitions of charming.
I get the feeling he could be not so charming if I wasn't there when he expected me. That's the thing I feel.
Definitely.
Then go. Wear a tux.
Well, all right, but yes, I'll put on a nice suit. I'm just thinking. Do you think it? Well, what if it is an Elysium? Well, I'll call you if it is. I suppose I could call you from there.
You can call her. I'm not.
Hold on.
I don't expect to be invited.
Hang on. Why don't we try and contact someone just to double check?
I already did. I'm waiting for a text. Nothing yet.
No.
Well, until Alice replies back, I don't know anybody else here that I can contact like one-on-one real fast.
Right.
You're Do you know someone?
I could try and contact someone. They're very, very busy, so they might not pick up, and they have an extremely busy schedule.
Well, if there's no luck there, then I think I should just go, because I need to get ready.
I'll check for you, because at the end of the day, as we've discussed, it comes down on all of us if one of us makes another cock up.
Yes.
So just bear with me.
All right.
I'll make a call. I'd like to call Sabine quickly.
Okay. Katia?
Hello, Sabine. It's lovely to hear you.
It's lovely to hear from you, darling. I haven't got any information for you yet.
That's fine. This isn't so much to do with that. I just really quickly wanted to check with you. We received a phone call. Unfortunately, no one was around to take it at the time, and our landlady has somewhat failed to give us the information. Is there anything going on tonight that I ought to know about?
What, within clan?
No, in general. There's no called court or anything?
Well, not that I'm aware of, darling.
That's absolutely fine. You see, one of my coterie members might be invited to a meeting this evening, and it was very vague. Wasn't sure if it was directed at all of us or just one of us, but at least this rules the rest of us out. Thank you so much.
Well, if you can tell me who was the one making the summons, I could probably give you more information.
Yes? You received a call from the Toreador Primogen, actually.
Curious. It's probably safest to assume that he expects you to be there early rather than late.
Right.
I'd play it safe, darling, and head straight over there.
Right.
Whether or not he expects you all, I can't say. I mean, it might be safest for you all to go, but...
It sounded like he only mentioned Benjamin by name.
Then I recommend he go alone. If you all show up, it might be seen as a
bit of a faux pas.
Yeah, potentially. But then again, the opposite is also true. It could be seen as a snub to him if you didn't all show up when he asked for you. But then again, you are... You could simply say you never got the message.
Of course.
I mean, that's a dangerous game to play with any kindred, but
yes,
particularly with the Toreador Primogen.
Indeed, it seems most prudent to adhere to the specific wording in this situation.
Yes, that tends to... Listening to the specific wording from someone like Michael Chase is probably the most prudent thing you could do. I recommend caution either way.
Of course.
My dealing with him has always been that if he's asking for you specifically, it's because he wants something. He might not even ask you for anything, but that only means he's already gotten it.
Exactly.
So tread carefully, dear, and let me know if you need anything else. Otherwise, I will get back in touch with you when I have information.
Likewise, let me know if there is anything I can do.
Although I would like to say, Katya, have you seen the news?
Yes. This evening's? Yes.
Yes, the individual you mentioned to me.
Yes.
Seems to be quite a topic for conversation.
Yes, it's not the most ideal scenario, but I assumed it would be one of these headline sensations.
Well, tread carefully, dear.
Yes, I plan to.
Well, I'm going to go to get back to some things that I have to do, so you take care of yourself.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Good night.
She hangs up.
Well, the good news is there's no scheduled event for all of us to attend. The bad news is, if you've been summoned by Michael Chase, it's prudent to arrive early, so it might be already late.
Oh no! Oh, right. I'll run off.
Now I finish my conversation with the guys, trying to find information for the school situation. So I'm gonna go with the roll instead of with option B.
Okay.
Does my specialty apply for that one?
No.
That is 5 successes.
Okay.
Nice.
It takes you a few minutes of kind of scouring over the Shrek net. Fortunately, the fact that the news regarding the remains are only just a subject of conversation means that they are quite easy for you to find. It is worth noting that the Shrek net does note the injury suffered on the skull. It is already on the Shrek net. However, you do successfully track it to the closest police station to the actual scene of the murder. It's easy enough for you to get to. If you wanted to, you could, in theory, get there, and it's not the largest station in London,
Brilliant.
but it's still a large station. It might be difficult for you to get in and out carrying whatever you're carrying, the skull, I'm assuming. and avoiding complete detection, but it is certainly possible for you to go in. However, how extensively they've studied it, from the sounds of it, the fact that they are comparing this to a similar event means that they are very likely to have already jumped on it. So it's entirely up to you how quickly you want to act, if you want to act at all.
Yeah. So I found where their skull is, Katya. So I'm gonna be needing that barbecue fast while I pull more information and records on the police station that's been held. Let me know when it's been slightly toasted. Medium rare, not well done. Let's move on. And what I'm gonna try to do is figure out. I want to hack into their network.
Okay.
But I'm gonna make it from my other haven with a super powerful system.
You're going to go to your other haven?
Yeah, it's not that far. It's not that far.
No, but this all... the reason I ask for like where people are doing stuff is because this all adds up over time. And remember, I operate on timelines.
Oh, yeah. It's not far, and I would be taking the motorcycle.
Okay. We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. It's going to be like a short drive, but it's going to be like a better check because I want to hack into the police station mainframe to see, like, to find information about that case, find anything that can be on a digital file, but also information about, where in the police station.
Okay, it's going to be harder for you to do that remotely. I mean, if you went in and got access to their systems from the police station, it'll be easier.
Sold. I'm going to go to my condo and look for equipment. So I'll write it down so you know which one I'm taking.
Right, okay. So, Katya, what are you doing? Now that Benjamin has run off, clearly in a bit more desperate state than he was in a moment ago.
I suppose it's left to me to burn this skull, though my doubts are mounting with each hour whether this is even a point to this particular endeavour, since it's going to be completely obvious the skulls have been switched. But nonetheless, I will start making preparations. Is there any kind of detritus down there that Moses has left?
I mean, there's not a lot of things down there that are flammable.
Then I'm looking for something to burn it in, just like some old metal or like.
There's plenty of different bits and pieces down there that you could fashion into a basin for you to set a fire to. However, I mean, it needs to burn pretty damn hot to melt bone.
Well, we're just looking to char the flesh off. The bone needs to be looks like it's been in a fire, basically.
Okay.
In terms of kindling materials, I remember obviously the workmen have been here. They probably will have removed the boarding we used to board up the windows.
They did.
So I guess I'll check the recycling bins.
Yep. And they're there.
Of thing.
There is like one or two bits that you've noticed as you're kind of going out and checking. You noticed on the way down that morning that there was one or two bits that have been left. All the ones on the ground floor that have been taken off are in the recycling bins. That alone suggests Mrs. Morovsky told them to put them in the bins, whereas the ones upstairs they left because they could get away with it. Yeah. But you managed to just pull them all out.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent in terms of kindling. I mean, they're slightly damp.
If there's any other like old newspapers, I suppose, or just like I'll scrunch up some...
always newspapers. Mrs. Morovsky's
and
a voracious
scrunch it
reader.
all up, build a nice little fire, and then. But the thing I actually want to, I'm more interested in, is I want to kind of construct almost like a fuse that gives me some distance so I can get the heck out of Dodge. Just gets like I've got quite a lot of stuff, so twine. I probably have like some lighter fluid or something in my supplies.
Are you're trying to make this as controlled as possible?
Yes, controlled, and so I can set it at a distance whereby it's not going to immediately go and I can just leave and go upstairs before it probably takes hold.
Sure. Okay. I mean, you're very much used to experiments. I mean, this is pretty easy enough for you to set up. There is always that tension throughout your body as the beast is very much subconsciously aware of what you're doing. And even though you have no intention of immolating yourself, it definitely doesn't like the direction this is going. And there's more than a few occasions where you have to forcibly remind yourself. You have to forcibly send the command to your arm to do something, to set something up. I mean, there's no resistance. It doesn't require a concentrated force of will, but it's like your body is trying to forget the process. But you manage to get yourself through that, get it set up into a state where you're pretty comfortable. It'll burn pretty well. Goggles. Are you going to start going now, or are you going to wait for Moses?
No, I'd probably do it whilst Moses is busy because it's going to take a couple of hours to get off the flesh properly.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll make sure I'm pretty close to... Although I'm standing fairly close, I've got some nice distance, I can just get the stairs quickly.
Okay. Jim, you've been wandering around for a while now. There are people out and about, even though it's as cold as it is, there are still people moving, mulling about. I mean, this is London, it's never going to be completely devoid of people. And there's plenty to distract you going on, especially now that you are not necessarily calmer, because to your mind you were right. There is that creeping air of superiority in you, and it needs release. Where are you going, and what are you planning to do?
After a while, I've probably still been checking the streets and learning like what the layout of the area.
I mean, at this point, you're outside of your domain.
Yeah. I'm gonna think back to where I saw them taking the skull. I'm gonna pick up the phone for Moses.
Okay. Moses, as you begin, just as you step outside towards your motorcycle, your phone begins to ring.
I just click. I leave the haven with the helmet on, so I don't even bother obfuscating, and I just hit the Bluetooth hands-free set.
Bluetooth in?
2001?
2001?
Really? You checked this? Nice.
Wow.
I had one.
You should be our researcher, man. So,
I certainly did not, I can tell you.
And even if not, you would just have the wire.
Yeah.
the connection is made.
It's not a Bluetooth helmet. It's just my Bluetooth. But
Moses?
Jim, are you okay?
If I could, would it be easier for you to deal with any documents regarding incident if I could get you into the police station?
Well, actually, now that you're talking about it, I'm way ahead of you. Actually, I'm like, as you can hear, I'm on my way there.
Well, if I could get you in, maybe with a little aid, would it be easier for you?
Well, I think any help you could give. What kind of help? And I'm just driving.
I know someone who may be able to help. I can't be certain until I try, but would it be easier?
Okay. Maybe if that person grants me access to the inside of the police station, and I can get close to the mainframe, that person doesn't need to do anything else to just get me past initial security so I don't have to sneak my way in.
Yeah.
Once inside, I think I could manage.
Yeah.
Tell them, if they agree, tell them to expect a blonde guy on maybe his early 30s to show up with a green scarf. The guy going in, his name is Abel.
Right. Thank you. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, cool. I'll be looking for my gear and I'll meet your guy there.
Okay, guys, we are going to pause there and take a 15-minute break. I'm going to hand you over to the cast because they have some more stuff that they want to say, and we will pick back up after 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
So, shout-outs first?
Shout-outs first.
Hello.
Did you want to start with Malot? Is that your shout-out?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my shout out to all of you. Thanks, guys, for watching from all of these lovely places. So, adding to the list of cities that we already have in the U.S. with Chicago, South Carolina, Austin, Texas, we have 2 new cities coming there from Nashville, Tennessee, and Miami, Florida. People watching from there, thank you very much. I have had confirmation of the city in France where Nosferatu Power is watching us. Juan, I expect I pronounced it correctly. There's also people watching us from Mexico City, back in Mexico. So that's muchas gracias, cuates. You're the best. And that's about it for the new list. So keep it up. Leave us a comment on the chat or the videos, or says he at Hit Points at many places. And on Twitter with the hashtag #MalopMoses. Amazing list of places. So thanks for watching, guys.
We've had from the Geek and Sundry Vampire stream, one of their players, B. Dave Waters, has shared our stream, so we'd like to give a shout out to him, which is thank you so much. It's amazing.
Cool. And this week we are doing another giveaway. So this week we have another necklace. This time it's on like a leather braided chain. It's this kind of purple glittering D10, and there's a little dragon charm underneath. And if you want to be on the chance of winning this necklace this week, I want you to message us on either Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, with the word Camarilla, and then we'll put you into a kind of pick name out of a hat, and then we'll let you know if you are the lucky winner this week. So, are we going to do our relationship
Yeah,
board
let's do the
updates
relationship board.
while we have more space? Okay.
Go.
Cool.
Right.
Anyone new on your side? You
Uh,
don't know anyone.
I know no one. I have no friends.
I want to change what Moses thinks of Jim. I mean, he
Seems
used
reasonable.
to say that Jim is a stubborn guy, but
Do
solid.
you want me to do this? Can you
Yeah,
reach from
I
there?
am. I'm just gonna remove the solid, and now he's gonna be stubborn, but
Lovely.
So,
also,
have you added anyone?
since last week we have not added anyone.
I have.
You have, yeah.
I've added Sabine
Oh,
to
yes.
my side of the relationship map. I will get a nice piece of red cord to link her in, since she is kindred. We also added Martin Alton, who is the poor unfortunate soul that Cartier may possibly have beaten to pulp in an alley, which she felt dreadful about.
Our praise will go to him.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's hope he makes it through, shall we?
I hope so, and I hope he doesn't remember anything. Other than that, I think that's it for new additions to the relationship.
Yes, but we
map.
do have some new additions to the Board of the Dead.
Yeah, that was my fault. Yeah,
So now we have an official Board of the Dead. And as you all know, Tyler Adams was killed by our constable, Jacqueline. So we already have that one there with his
We
the
still
perpetrator.
don't know who killed Will Sparring.
Nope, still a mystery.
And now we have Stephen Graham, the unfortunate soul from last week, who Jim
yeah.
eviscerated.
Hey,
school we would
he
need.
shot at Jim?
You-
What do you think?
I'm sorry, you hunted him down in the first place, so that does not count as
I mean,
self-defense.
like, you evil laughed him and everything. So
Yeah,
seems
you went.
reasonable.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was not self-defense
He
whatsoever.
was about he was just trying to beat the shit out of him. He wasn't.
So anyway, he has been added to the Board
Exactly,
of the
you
Dead.
did.
That's the key thing.
Yes, and
Is that yeah?
probably, I guess we could add this Mary Pulvitz to like the same area as Will Sparring,
Oh,
since
yeah,
their murders
we should-
were
Yes.
concurrent. So that's something we could add for next week. We can kind of have this mystery over here of who done it. Other than that,
Hey, you know what we should do? We should add her and then have a string connecting
that
the
makes
same
sense.
style
Yeah, I
murders.
think murders that are connected should have
Yeah.
strings. That's quite fun. Nice, that's a cool thing
You
to
just want
do.
more string.
We always want more strings. String is the greatest, you know.
Cool.
Let
I
yourself
think
get more strength.
I think that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
yes, everyone. So we'll put this one back first.
our complicated board shenanigans.
Okay, 1.
1.
2. Okay, I'll move over again. Sorry about that, Jim.
So we often talk a bit about V5 system because it's got a few things that are different to what's come before. And one of the interesting things is we have what's called campaign tenets. So essentially, each time you decide you want to run a vampire game in V5, you have to decide what the kind of moral code of the world is. So not the moral code of the characters, but the moral code of the world. The kind of things that will put stains on your soul if you break. In our particular campaign, we've gone for the humanist tenets in the book, which essentially are: thou shalt not kill, except in self-defense.
Thou shalt not rape or torture.
And thou shalt not harm the innocent.
Which I just want to put out there. You definitely harmed an innocent. You harmed a child.
I
that
mean,
was literally the
show
whole
me
point.
the marks on his
You
body.
drained
He
like
was fine.
an unhealthy proportion of his blood. I'm sorry, I'm putting forward that that's absolutely stained material unless you have a conviction that protects you.
As you all know, teenagers have an excess of blood, and I siphoned off a little bit of the excess for his medical benefit. Wow. Anyway, things I should not be quoted on outside the stream.
No.
He's not a doctor. Don't
things that break the campaign tenets, and also things that are supernaturally evil. So, for example, creating another vampire or making someone into a ghoul. Those are the things that can put stains upon your soul. That if you are too inhumane to feel bad about and realise what a monster you're becoming, will lower your humanity.
Which is why I'm humanity 6.
And in the last session, Katia, after beating this student virtually to death in an alley, had stains on her soul because he was innocent and she did do more than harm him, one might say. However, those of you who saw last session will realise that Katia had a moment of revelation about what she did, and therefore her humanity was not
very
lowered.
remorseful.
There were bloody tears, but it's all okay, unless you're Martin.
He's fine.
But we mentioned in a previous session about touchstones. So as a vampire, you can have people in the world that enable you to hold on to humanity. And those touchstones can represent particular ideals. And as long as that person is alive and still embodying that ideal, your vampire can keep hold of that. And that's important because sometimes you might do something that will put a stain on your soul, but if you were doing it in the name of your conviction, that can lessen the stains upon your soul and make it more likely to hold on to your humanity.
Effectively, is the old talk of war of morals, in which your convictions might go against the tenets of the world, as Peter is explaining, but then you would have a reasonable justification instead of just trying to, work with it. No, I did this because I believe in this specific conviction that I have, so it lessens the brutality of stains on your humanity.
Yeah. So you can't just say to the ST, like, I really believe my character shouldn't lower his humanity here. But if you can say, actually, I was acting in this conviction, then with the ST's discretion, they will lower the number of stains. It might lower the stains to 0, and mean you don't even make a check, or it might take it from lots of stains, which means it's harder to pass, to fewer stains.
Of course, the number of convictions you have is tied to the number of touchstones you have. You can each touchstone you have essentially represents that conviction, that ideal, as we discussed. Obviously, if you lose that touchstone, if something terrible happened to them, you also lose that conviction, and that has massive consequences down the line. So it's kind of worth noting that each of our different characters, they might have 1 conviction and 1 touchstone, they might have 3, and 3 of each. So it'd be interesting if any of you did have theories as to whether any of the NPCs we've already met may or may not be touchstones for any of us. So Indeed, yes. Anything else on that?
Now we've talked about convictions, we've talked about humanity and stains. So the thing to note, I suppose, is that, say in Katya's case, when you acquire stains, then normally it's at the end of a session or sometimes at the end of a scene or a night, depending on what's going on. You then make your roll. And it's hard to describe without using a visual guide, but I was thinking about the fact you have your humanity, and the humanity is a track, a bit like a health track.
Yeah, so you have a track of 10 boxes.
So if your humanity is 7, for example, and you get a stain on your soul, one of the empty boxes gets a check in it.
Yeah, so you've got 7 coloured in boxes, 1 checked box.
And that would leave 2 empty boxes, which would enable you to roll 2 dice.
Only one of them has to be a success in order to not lose your humanity. However, say for example you had 3 stains, that would fill up all of your remaining empty boxes, so in that case you would automatically, I believe.
No, you roll 1 dice.
You always roll a minimum of 1.
Yeah,
I'm playing hardcore.
Yeah, tougher campaign maybe if Rachel's running it.
And it's sort of a line that makes sense. Keeping an insanely high humanity level, like 9 or 10, it's something that a vampire must struggle actively to achieve, because you have to remember, it's not that this is a vampire who's really connected to his humanity. No, he's mimicking humanity for the sake of his own mind and soul. So to abide by all the tenets of humanity, basically removing yourself from kindred society, integrating more into human life and the human experience, makes it far easier for a vampire of such high humanity to have even the slightest of mishaps to have an effect and lower your humanity. But the lower it is, it takes progressively more and more heinous acts to actually make a dent, and then that's when you have like the very low humanity monsters in the biblical sense of the word, which they barely feel any remorse because of the awful things they have already done in the past. So they're slightly pushing the post towards one side, and that's again having several consequences. For example, you hold on to your humanity to help you avoid the beast taking over, as you saw with Benjamin when he rolled to resist his frenzy. The higher your humanity, the higher the easier it is for you to hold on to your senses.
And it's worth saying that although we've gone with the humanist campaign tenets, that's setting a kind of genre, like what do you want the tone of the game to be. In the rulebook there are several other examples, but you can choose the genre of vampire game you want to run.
Or make up your own.
Of
course, encouraged as well.
But then if you want to play a character who actually is at odds with that world, and I'm thinking about, funnily enough, in kind of superheroes thing where you often have the one kind of anti-hero who doesn't quite play by the same rules as everyone else. That's where convictions can allow you to survive, because if you've got the right convictions, then you'll probably still pick up stains, but you may be able to mitigate them enough to not just be a monster in session 3. Yeah.
Even so, it is certainly encouraged that you at least try and share some in common with the rest of your coterie, because at the end of the day, if they don't have your back, then you won't survive very long in the world of darkness. So teamwork is absolutely necessary, which is why we're still putting up with each other.
It's as you've seen, teamwork so expertly demonstrated by us so far in this stream. We're great.
Well, we're all baby vampires. We're still
Katya and
learning.
Moses, whenever they get together, I mean,
We're productive.
we get stuff done.
Yeah.
You other two, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those I can't remember who they are, but those other two are
He's trying to prove as part
nightmare.
of a pack.
We have to integrate with the pack.
Yeah, he's trying to learn that. It's not going well for him at the moment.
Bless him.
Lone wolf style.
We're so sympathetic.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Right.
So I think
we're more or less ready to jump back in.
Thank you very much for everything. Remember, #Malone. Moses' amazing list of places.
Welcome back, guys, for the second half of episode 5. Now, Benjamin.
Hello.
You have made your hasty exit to your room, I'm assuming.
Yes.
In order to prepare for this impromptu summons.
Yes.
How are you going to prepare? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna, because I was in fairly, nondescript and not very smart clothes. So I'm now changing out of those and getting into the best suit that I've got, and making sure that I look presentable, because I think Michael is the kind of person that will notice these things. And I don't think I'm doing anything else too radical.
Okay.
I will take the fastest route I can. So if it's faster to drive, I'll drive. If it's faster to take public transport, actually no, I won't do that. I'll drive.
Okay.
I'll drive.
I mean, even as clustered as it can sometimes be, driving through London, it's probably safer if you want to ensure you're going to get there at some...
I do, because I'm aware that apparently he likes people being early. This will distress Benjamin that he's only just found this out, or he would have already... So, yeah.
We've all been there, Benjamin.
That's,
So, that's... After you rapidly clothe yourself into something a bit more aesthetically pleasing, you go out to your car, rapidly climb into it, and just make the beeline for the Victoria Palace.
Yeah.
You've been there before, obviously, for the Elysium.
Yes.
And for the court. And your memories of the place were very different then. I mean, you're still feeling nervous going there, but this is a different kind of nervous. I mean, as far as you're aware, no one else... Well, I mean, before you had your coterie going with you, you didn't really know them at that point, but there was other people there. You weren't just the one on display.
Yes.
But now it feels almost as though you are. And that's even more
it's awful.
Especially since every single time you speak to someone about this individual, it seems that they're cautioning you.
Yeah.
But he seems like a perfectly nice man.
I mean, yeah.
Yes. And you begin making your way, and perhaps uncomfortably quickly, you find yourself pulling up onto the same street as the Victoria Palace. Mm-hmm. And you pull up, make sure that you're in a suitable parking space for however long you're supposed to be in there. And you begin making your way up towards the Victoria Palace. And on the front, it actually says there is a notice saying that it's closed for private performances. And as you're kind of wondering whether or not how you're going to get in, there is a sign that says critics through the rear door.
Right, I will.
It's small, but it's there. And it takes you a moment of kind of appraising it, but there is a very slight edge to the end of the T. Very, very slight, but as you kind of lean in, there is a very, very slight imprint. Not actually drawn on, but an imprint that makes it look almost Ankh-like. And you're like, okay. And even Benjamin picks that up. And as you move around to the side of the theatre, you find that the fire escape is... It's closed to all intents and purposes, but as you pull it, it comes away and a bit of cardboard just falls out of the side, meaning that it's easily accessible for you.
So I'll put it back the way it was behind me, and then... I suppose I'll is it lit inside, or is it dark? Okay, well, I suppose is there any overt noise or anything, or is it all very quiet?
It's very quiet.
So I suppose at that point I will push my senses so that I can see. And also, I'll just start quietly making my way along. I'm not trying to be super stealthy. I'm just listening to and looking for any clue of where I'm supposed to go.
Okay. It takes you a few moments as your senses become alert and alive, and you realise that you are in the rear, the wings of the theatre itself, and as you're kind of wandering through this, and there's the different props and everything that's put into a state, you progress further until you can hear what sounds like a very, very quiet kind of from the front of the theatre, and it's joined by several others. And you pause and listen again. Benjamin!
Ah. Do I recognise the voice?
You do.
Alright. Well, I'll make my way towards it then.
Okay. You move up towards the front, and these vast curtains which separate you and the stage from the front. And as you kind of peel it back and look, in the front row, by himself, resplendent gold hair, fine clothing, and blue eyes, just looking at you, is Michael Chase. He's sat in the front row, leaning back, very comfortable, and the entirety of the row in front of him is filled with very pale men and women, all very curiously androgynous in appearance. All of them, it's hard to tell at a glance, but they're either dead or unconscious.
Right.
And all of them are very, very pale.
Okay.
The few that you can just glance at quickly in the time that he's observing you stepping out from beyond the curtains, you can hear the coming from them as they're very, very raspily breathing.
Is it lit in here?
Very, very dimly.
Okay.
But it is lit. It's more towards the rear of the theatre where it's lit. But as these aisles progress further and come closer and closer, it's darker. And if it wasn't for your heightened senses, it would be very difficult for you to pick out much of anything. Right. But their skin seems almost luminescent.
I will.
And he's just leaning there quite casually. And as you approach, he just very casually just drapes his arm over the one closest to him. And the way that he pulls them in closer and their head lolls on him, it's quite clear that this is perhaps one of the ones that isn't alive.
Isn't alive.
Either that or they're just very badly drained.
Okay, I'll say, hello, Mr. Chase.
Hello, Benjamin. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honoured.
I'm afraid you caught me slightly earlier than normal. I was in the middle of feeding.
Oh, would you like me to come back?
No, not of course. No, come and join me. I think there's some left, maybe. Oh, you look like you've fed anyway.
Yes.
Well, step down off the stage, darling. Right. You're not on display.
I'll come down.
Come, join me. It occurs to you that there are no free seats in this aisle.
So, are there free seats? He's sitting behind the row of bodies mainly, isn't he? Or is he?
Oh no, he's
with them.
He's in the middle of them.
Okay, well, I guess I'll look for the nearest available seat.
It would require you to sit behind him, or you can just sit on the floor in front of him.
Well, he's told me to sit, so I suppose I'll sit in. It seems rude to sit behind him, so I'll sit down in front of him, I suppose.
He just watches you go. He's got a almost polite and patient smile on his face as he's just watching you.
All right, I'll sit
with the head still lolling on his shoulders, and then as you sit, he withdraws his arm and then just pushes it off of him. So, Benjamin Green. Do you know I did my research on you since we spoke last?
Oh.
You have a very peculiar art style.
Peculiar?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's piqued my interest, nevertheless.
Oh.
But, I was curious. Your art pieces, they're all purchased by the same person. I mean, I thought an artist was supposed to be purchased by multiple people.
Well, I suppose...
Very limited kind of clique of admirers.
Well, I mean, they're displayed in galleries for lots of people to admire.
Well, I suppose there's that. But, nevertheless, I am glad you're here. It's rare outside of our clan, particularly in London, that people with the title of artist is embraced. But, anyway, don't let me do it all. How have you been finding it? I mean, you've got this vast city, as far as I'm aware. I mean, Edinburgh, I believe you come from?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so this must be different.
Oh, very, very different. Much different sort of pace of life, and lots of different inspirations. Actually,
And how are you doing, darling? He leans forward. It's almost like he's having just a friendly chat with someone that's a very old friend that he hasn't spoken to for a while.
I'm going to try not to look at the bodies. I'm going to try and look at him.
I need composure plus subterfuge from you, please.
Composure plus. That's kind of nice. Composure plus subterfuge. All right. 3 successes, unbelievably.
Nice. And 3 dice.
Your luck is something else.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm hugely disturbed by the fact he's got like random dead people.
That's fine.
A scarf.
But any subtle glance. I mean, for the most part, you manage to keep your eyes on him, and it's those electric blue eyes. The only eyes bluer than this that you've ever seen in your life is Prince Emrys's, but they are almost unnaturally blue. This one is more like electric. It almost seems to move with the lack of the light, changing between a kind of playful gunmetal over to a light blue. And those eyes just observe you. There's no pretense here. He's not blinking. He's pale. He is quite... Anybody else that will walk in would be hard to distinguish which of these bodies, including his, is dead and which isn't. And most would assume he is among the dead. But he is just very, very carefully just observing you.
So, do you paint, Mr. Chase?
Oh, well, not paint. Well, I did at one point, but mainly it's sculptures. It's
really?
Yeah, a bit of dance, a bit of this, a bit of that. I mean, I've dabbled all over the place. I mean, going back a fair way, my name would have been among the greats. But I mean, obviously, once you join our ranks, you can't celebrate yourself like you did. I mean, the people that still see it still recognize it for what it is. I mean, as you'll no doubt find out.
I would love the opportunity to...
And maybe one day you will.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm a little... I was very pleasantly surprised to get your invitation.
Well, the surprises are both ways these days, aren't they?
I must say, things have been very surprising in my life lately. There's a lot to take in, as he...
Excuse me a moment. You can go now. And you see towards the back of the theatre in a corner that you did not initially catch your... I mean, with these rare bodies in front of you. A woman with long hair just gets up. And it would have been indistinguishable to notice her before, even for you. She gets up and then just begins moving. She's got a swagger about her movements and a confidence, but she just stops midway and just glances back at you. Back at Chase, and then he just looks back over at her and just... I said go. I'm having a discussion. And she just moves off and then slams the door and then moves off.
Do I think I'd recognise her if I see her again, or no?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is she striking at all, or is she still...
Oh, yeah, she's striking. Yeah. You'd be able to recognise her again, but she moves off. It's a very brief moment. She literally just strides into the aisle.
Okay.
Meets the eyes of... Well, meets the side of the face of Michael, and then pushes her way out the door. Sorry about that.
Is everything all right? She didn't seem very happy.
Oh, it's nothing you need to worry about.
Oh, good.
But anyway, tell me. I must admit, I'm extremely curious. I mean, your assortment of companions. I mean, that must be devilish for you.
Well, I must say I'm rather used to, I suppose, my own space, and it is strange having to, well, live so closely with others, especially they're all so different, and you know, so yes, it has been a steep learning curve, shall we say.
And how are you finding it being out from dear old St. Clair's thumb?
Well, I must say, I do look back very fondly on that time. It reminds me a little bit about before this happened, going to university for the first time, where suddenly you're sort of in the world, but trying to work out how everything works. I suppose it's a little like that.
And I mean, you haven't had the greatest start. I mean, no offence to your sire, but there are sires and then there are... Well...
I'm afraid I'm not sure I follow you, Mr. Chase.
Tell me something, darling. If you didn't have your companions, and you had your own domain, how well do you think you would have coped with the transition? Do you think you would be comfortable? Do you think you would have been confident that you are living within the prince's decree? that you are surviving. Well, more than surviving, you're flourishing.
It's very hard to answer. It has been very good to have companions, I must say, for all their quirks. It's reassuring to have people around, but I couldn't fault Edmund. I just couldn't. He's been so good to me.
I'm sure you could if you tried hard enough. But that's a matter for another time. I'm curious, though. You've, I mean, of course, through no choice of your own, you've shackled up with a few people that owe a few boons to individuals that it's probably not best to owe boons to.
Oh, really?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
I suppose they wouldn't mention it.
Oh, well. I can't say I'm entirely surprised between us.
No?
No.
Why's that?
Well, just I think the thing is my companions they're all very skilled in different ways, but even though I'm very new, I couldn't help but noticing when we were presented that some of us seemed perhaps a little step behind the others. That's all I'm saying. So I would if they have been around longer than I have, and I could see why they might owe some boons. That's all. If they hadn't learnt certain lessons by now, that's all I'm saying.
We'll say roll. Roll wits plus insight.
Wits plus insight?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'm super insightful. Let's have a look, I guess. 1.
Okay.
What?
There are 2 ones.
So?
And one's on a hunger die.
1 on a hunger die. So
That doesn't make any difference, does it?
It's
It
only
does
if you
if
have
you
no
failed.
successes whatsoever.
Well, it's
What for a...
There is a 6, a 4, and 2 ones.
yeah.
one of the ones is on
If-
a hunger
Yeah, so
die.
one is a hunger dice, but I got a success. I mean, if it's a contested roll, then that's a different matter.
Yeah, if you lose the contest,
I mean, all right, fine.
You get a
I'll
repulsion.
spend a point of willpower.
but that
Okay.
only will allow you to
Get-
re-roll.
Yeah, but you can re-roll the others, but you might succeed.
No, I can re-roll 1 dice, so I might get 2 successes.
Okay.
I mean, it's against
You
Michael,
might- you-
so
you
like
won't
my
have
odds are
the-
low, right?
The failure, so.
No.
Another
You roll.
one.
That's uncanny.
What was it you were saying about luck?
I haven't rolled yet.
Does this mean... Does this...
It depends what he
2.
rolls.
Yeah?
1 success. One
Welcome
success.
Welcome to the world of compulsion.
There we go. So I've taken a superficial willpower.
For all the good it did you.
I know.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot of dice.
I suspect he's got more dice
I
than
will
me.
do this in a moment.
It's his son.
How old did you say you were?
Me? How old? Sorry, I get a bit. Do you mean in total?
The bit that counts. The bit how long you've been...
Oh, just a few months.
Really?
Yes.
Achieved a fair bit in a few months, surely.
Oh, I thought. I thought.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
It is. Right. Good. Good.
Do you know, I don't normally go for your style of art.
Oh.
But I must profess I am intrigued by it.
Oh yes. Well, that's good. I hope that it will draw
Do
the
you
eye.
care for your companions?
Do I care for them? Well, I mean, they can be trying at times, but I
Everybody can be. Do you care for them?
yes.
Would you like to help them?
Yes, I would think so. Did you have something in mind?
Oh, I do. And it's pretty much nothing beyond what you do already, darling.
Oh.
Basically, here's what's going to happen.
All right.
I have a means of ensuring that both of your companions that owe boons will no longer owe boons. They'll be free. In exchange, all I ask is that for the next 10 years,
Yes.
you give me first dibs on your art.
Oh.
Now, see, you are uneducated, by contrast, with the way things work. So allow me to put this in perspective.
All right.
Boons are our currency. They are our favors. They are the kind of things one kills for.
I see.
I want to impress upon you just how generous an offer this is. I mean, 10 years by your human mind might consider that to be, oh my god, 10 years, a decade, oh, what am I going to do? But in the contrast of things, that's not particularly long.
Right.
And all I'm asking you to do is do what you do already. And I mean, in my galleries, you know, people will see your art.
That is, goodness, and extremely generous of you.
I will give you until tomorrow to make a decision.
Well,
I will say this. Weigh your options carefully.
Oh, I always do. Thank you so much, Mr. Chase. This is... I would never have expected this.
Most people don't, but, you know, I like to help where I can.
Yes.
Are you sure you're not hungry?
I am a little hungry.
Do you want one?
I'll have a look. Do they all look like they're virtual? If I
Yes.
took anything, I'd kill them.
Probably.
So, no, thank you. That's very kind, but I have already fed tonight. But thank you ever so much.
They're not to your type.
I think I like us.
Words are clearly not your artistry, are they?
No, it's not really my. They're not really my forte. But I'm sure they're wonderful. I just thank you, but very kind. But I couldn't possibly.
The limits when we find them, hey?
Yes.
Or you'll learn. Well, provided you become old enough to learn.
Well, I do hope that happens.
So do I. It's so rare that I meet someone that's actually interesting.
Oh, that's very kind.
Yes.
Oh, no, I.
Am I boring you, darling?
No,
Do you have somewhere else you need to be?
Nowhere more important than here. I mean, I was worried I was boring you, to be honest.
No, not at all. I mean, there's only one other appointment that needs to be kept, but, your sire doesn't mind you being late, does he?
Well, I don't believe my sire's expecting me.
Oh. No. You didn't get the message?
No. Ooh. There was a message.
I'm sure he'll understand.
Is he... Oh, no. What, there was a message from Edmund for me. I didn't get any message. So
you didn't?
No.
Well, you see, he asked here, when I was here, whether or not you were going to see him. Because I told him that I'd seen you. Sorry. I mean, it was a white lie. I hadn't seen you yet, but I was going to.
Oh.
So I told him that I passed along the message and you were going to be prompt to go straight there, but it must have slipped my mind. I mean, where's the time gone?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, indeed.
Oh.
You better hurry, darling.
Yes, I'm so sorry, Mr. Chase. I think I have to go.
No. Thank you, Benjamin. I mean, what an insightful lad.
Be polite. Get up. Polite. Going
Can
out.
I ask one thing before you go, Benjamin?
I'll stop. Yes, of course. Anything.
And his manner suddenly changes, and it becomes a little bit more serious.
Okay.
No, I'm only joking. You can go.
I like him.
He's like Uber Moses.
Yeah.
I will hurry off. As soon as I'm out of his
Hurry
sight.
off.
Off. Hurry off.
And as you're rushing towards the door, you stop and glance back at him, and you find that he is no longer sat among them. He is stood in the aisle, just watching you. And all pretense of flamboyancy and jovial is gone, and he is just staring after you, and his head's cocked as though he's studying you. And as the door's shut, you see a shift in the shadows behind him, up on the stage, and what looks to be another figure just slip away. And then the door shuts behind you.
And none of that was good. I will, I guess, be heading to Edmonds.
Okay.
I might phone I'll phone Katya, I suppose.
Okay.
I was thinking about phoning Moses. I nearly phoned you. But then I can handle another joke right now. So.
In the middle of carrying kerosene.
It's a really inopportune time to be calling when you're carrying flammable things.
Oh, it's put everything down. Hello.
Hello. I'm finished at the theatre, and now I've got to go and see my sire. I think.
Everything okay?
No. Okay. I think there was some kind of one-upmanship which isn't going to go very well for me.
As long as there aren't any bodies, it's fine.
No bodies yet.
Yeah.
Fine. So you're going to see your sire, was it?
Yes, I think I know now why he. Yes, I think Mr. Chase hasn't. Doesn't matter. Bye.
Good luck.
Okay, so you'll begin making your way back there. You're racing off on your bike. You're building kerosene, and you are.
I'm making a phone call to James Richardson.
Okay. It rings a fair few times. Richardson.
Hey James.
Jim, what can I do for you, mate?
Yeah, I got a friend who needs access to PlayStation near. I'd say the street where.
Yeah, such and such. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to need a bit more information than that. Define needs access to.
Just needs access to. Just needs access to the building.
Mate, that's no more information than you just gave me.
Yeah.
Right, hang on. No, put that down. No, I'll get to it in a minute. Hang on. And you just hear the phone go down. And there's a pause. And then the sound of ruffling as the phone gets picked back up. And you can hear people in the background, people moving back and forth. Lots of movement, lots of people talking. It's clear that wherever he is, that he's not alone. He picks it back up. Right. As much as I like your elusive banter, mate, I'm going to need a hell of a lot more information than what you're giving me. Access to a police station, that doesn't... I mean, if they want to come in and report something, you come in and report it.
You remember the incident that I was involved in a bit of time back? You helped me set up a new identity?
Yeah, the thing that I told you to report.
Yeah.
Just haven't done it yet, though.
I'm still trying to find the person who did that.
Mate, I've told you, the less you tell me about that, the better.
I know. That's why I'm trying to... No, that's very reason why I'm trying to...
Alright, hang on. And you can hear him muffle the phone, and you can hear the noises of voices around him just getting quieter and quieter, and then you hear it. Right. Say again.
Yeah. So with that, I'm still trying to find the person.
Right.
Still trying to keep on the download, keep you out of it.
Well, you're not, are you? You're calling me up on the phone asking me to get access to a police station.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound legal. If you want to come in, or whoever this is wants to come in and file a report, you know how to do that. But it sounds like you're asking for actual access to a police station. For what?
Just to find some direct records. Just looking at the records. Making sure we get.
Fuck me, Jim. You never ask for anything fucking easy, do you?
I'm afraid not. Sorry, mate.
And who is this person?
Guy named Abel, blonde guy, 30s.
Abel? What kind of fucking name's Abel?
Yeah.
Right, hang on. Right. I'm going to regret asking this, but what the fuck do you need access to the records for? You do realise that if he fucks around with anything or goes into anything that you really shouldn't, I'm going to get in the shit, right?
I'm aware. I'm going to be very discreet.
Mate, you better be, otherwise I'm going to come and bite you in the fucking ass. You understand that, yeah?
I'm aware of that.
Right, fucking hell. Right, you got 30 minutes to tell him, to whoever this person is, to get their asses in here. And they have no more than 10 minutes. They're in. After 10 minutes, I'll escort them out the building my fucking self.
Thank you.
Fuck's sake, Jim. Hang up the phone.
Straight back to Moses. Moses?
Hello?
I've got new access. I've got to be there within the next 30 minutes. I've got 10
I
minutes.
make a fast mental calculation. Do I have an? It's 30.
Yeah, I mean,
minutes.
you were on your way a moment ago, and there's not a lot of traffic. There is some traffic. There's not a lot, and you can weave in and out of it on your bike anyway. I mean, if you're particularly daring, you can get there with time to spare.
Okay, but then, cool. But then you tell Katya and both of you meet me nearby so she can give me the package.
Right. No, so we got 10 minutes while we're in there.
10?
10 minutes. That's all he'd get you. Before it, I'm gonna try to escort you out of the building himself.
I have 4 spare. Cool.
Cool. So you proceed. What are you doing after you've hung up the phone? Are you heading straight over there as well, or are you going?
I'm messaging Cassie a very much urgent message and heading over there quickly.
Fuck's sake.
Juggling all the.
Although I guess by this time it will already
it
the
be
process
burning,
will be burning for a while if it's
Yeah.
gonna be ready.
And I mean, it's only by virtue of this elongated fuse that you manage to snub any kind of gnawing in your guts. That kind of falling feeling you get when you jar yourself awake. It's the same thing that you see when you see the flash of the ignition go off on this. But you're far enough away where you can bite it down.
Yeah. Okay, flip up my mask. Hello?
Kadia?
Yes? Jim?
I've gotten Moses access to the location where he needs to go. He's asking for us to both be there. I'm on my way now.
Right. You are aware that I do not drive, right?
I do not drive either.
Wait. How are you getting there? How long? Wait.
I'm running.
Wait, where is it we're even going? I haven't been told where this place is.
I'm going to tell that location.
Fine. Oh, it's a good thing I've got a thick backpack. I'll see you there.
Thank you.
Okay. With everybody moving with some measure of haste towards their own destinations, Moses, you managed to pull up to this police station. There are police cars out and about. There are police officers you can see through the windows.
The list of things I gathered. So you know.
Okay. Okay. You look through the window. There are numerous people, and then you see an individual that's plain clothes, just out front smoking. And it's only by watching this individual and the fact that he seems to be looking out that you can guess this is the individual you're supposed to be meeting.
I put on a green scarf.
Okay.
Raise the hood of my hoodie, but allow the green scarf to be seen.
Okay. Do you still have your helmet on?
Sorry?
You don't still
No. I take my helmet off and leave everything with the motorcycle, put on the hoodie and the scarf, but I'm walking with the hoodie down, also smoking a cigarette.
As he's looking around, he notes you and then flicks his cigarette out and then makes his way over towards...
Someone didn't get hungry.
Pass the rouse check for the Mask of 1,000 Faces!
First time for everything.
Okay. As he makes his way towards you, he stops and he seems to be glancing across the floor, and once he gets to a certain point, he goes forward and then stops. Waits for you to approach and he goes, Abel,
Evening.
you're gonna have to take that fucking hood off.
Let me finish my cigarette and leave this outside.
This is cutting into your 10 minutes, mate. Do with it what the hell you want.
I ring them immediately.
Okay.
Which one do you ring? Get up. Which one do you ring? Which one do you ring?
Oh, Katya.
How far have I got?
You're...
Hitting the subway, whatever public transport's quickest.
It's...
Because my whole intention is to meet with them first, but if this guy is
I mean, yeah, he said come down in half an hour. By the time you've managed to get there, I mean, it's not quite half an hour yet. You guys will get there. Well, you're a bit closer. You'll get there within the time. Katya will get there after the 30 minutes. I mean, even subway when it's not busy, you're still reliant on the train, the bus times. God help you. As you, so you pull up, Jim, alongside the police station, stopping your run, and you can see Detective Sergeant James standing outside. He's clearly not in a good mood. The way he's standing there, the way he's just glancing around, and the moment he sees you, the expression on his face makes it clear. Fuck's sake, Jim. And as you approach, he just... From the moment I walk back through those doors, you've got 10 minutes. Either one of you.
And I just open the pack of cigarettes and I open them. I try to want to make him... I'm trying, like, very lightly, not much chit-chat because I think he's not in a good mood. I'm trying to keep him here a couple of minutes just to see if... Like, another cigarette, just to see if Katya is around or she's getting here.
Alright, he takes a cigarette and he seems... It's quite clear that this guy's a smoker. The fact that he immediately goes for it without pausing, he just takes it, lights it up, and just... He's looking anywhere but at you, and...
Is Jim already with us?
Yeah, Jim's was not far away.
Okay, the moment we see him walking, it's like,
I was working on the assumption that once you got the information on where it was, you would have been walking towards it anyway.
Yeah.
So... You managed to pull up. He's there with a cigarette. By the time you do come, it's coming towards the end of it. Katya, you aren't far. At this point, you probably, as soon as you get off this other stop, it's probably about a 5-minute walk. If you
walk.
Go quick, yeah. Like I said, 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if you're in there, I'll fucking get you out myself.
Yeah.
Got it, boss. I, again, ring her.
Yeah.
She's probably like, I'm already there. But I'm gonna
I'm
ring
on my
her.
way!
Like, how far, where, which way?
Yeah.
Then I come around the corner.
Okay.
Okay.
I will march straight up to Jim.
Okay. He started to move around and head back in towards the police station, and then he stopped when he sees you two hang back.
Oh, I start walking slightly with him.
Okay. So you're hanging back.
Because I'm waiting for her to show up, but
Okay.
she's just almost there.
So,
I just want a quick hand it over so I can put it in one of the backpacks, the small sacks.
Okay.
I immediately just take off this fairly innocuous backpack, thrust it, and say, "You always fit your fucking stuff. Now, please, I'm not staying up waiting for you guys again. Next time you call me, give me a bit more notice."
Sorry, I didn't set that up meeting. I mean, Jim's the one who doesn't know how to read a clock. And I start walking.
Right. Are you two hanging back, or are you going?
I'm not going in. I'm not going in. I'm off.
No.
I think I'm going on.
As he's walking back and he glances back at you, he stops again at that same point from before.
Put my baseball cap, my beanie, but it looks like a baseball cap.
And he glances back and sees the backpack that you've got that you didn't have a moment ago.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, that's leaving with
I
me.
swear to fucking God, if you cause me any sort of issues, whatever the hell you're planning. And then he just turns and just walks. And the moment he grabs hold of the door handle and just opens it, he just says under his breath, but quite loud enough that you can hear, 10 minutes start. And then pushes the door and steps in.
Boom. Okay. You go in, and I do I get checked or anything?
No, just as the individual that's at the counter looks up, the detective sergeant that you're with just shakes his head and just walks off.
I pretend to walk behind him for as if I am with him for all intents and purposes, looking around, checking out for what I saw on my search. Then I would try to head off to any of the main servers.
As soon as you move off anywhere, he is following you. He follows you through down towards the server rooms. It's not difficult for you to get down towards the server rooms. But the moment you go in, he stands next to the door, or far enough away where it's not obvious he's just outside of the door. But he's in a position where he can watch you go in and go out.
Brilliant. I connect to the network.
Okay.
On the service using the burner laptop. I start with this.
Okay.
So I suppose that for me to hack directly into the mainframe, I roll what? Working as fast as possible as I
as you
can.
We'll say intelligence plus technology. Oh, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
It'll still be intelligence plus technology.
Okay.
We'll say your spec does apply. Okay. You're trying to do this and get out with minimal kind of traces.
Yes.
Or are you just going in, taking it, and then just worrying about any trace that's left afterwards?
Well, actually, that is me taking care of the traces as well.
Okay, right. So, we'll say this is a difficulty 3.
Ouch.
You've got like a billion dice.
Come on. Don't underestimate the bad luck after the past rouse check.
So just think of all the boons that Jim will owe you.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Yes!
Excellent. It's like watching fucking Superman do what Superman does. At the moment you're like Moses, the kind of closed-in individual vanishes, and then it's like...
Concert pianist.
And as you're working your way through it...
Connecting directly to the ports and all of that to create a super user, delete that one.
And you're looking for information on the case itself.
Yes.
Which particular one? Because you've got quite a few that you have an interest in. Or is it just the Stephen case?
Right now, the Stephen case.
Okay. The amount of time you have, regardless of how well you rolled, you will be able to look at one. 10 minutes is not long when you're trying to hack into a system, even using this process.
And you gotta swap the skulls.
Yeah, I know. But that part, I don't need the access entry that he's giving me, so that's okay.
I'll tell you what. I can either give you all of the information that they've collected on Stephen, or I can allow you to ask 5 questions about any of those cases to represent your successes.
I think Moses would most likely, since he already did that procedure, and he's erasing any trace of his tampering, I will try to gather all the information regarding Stephen's case, including tag number and room where they keep evidence of the skull specifically, but all other information they would have, like file numbers and names and codings of the pictures, like picture number 75 whatever.
So basically everything to do with Stephen.
Everything.
For Stephen?
Yes.
Okay. You don't get a chance to look at any of the other cases. I mean, tracking down all this information is pretty time consuming, especially when you are aware there is a detective sergeant on the other side of that door and you are being timed. And you're pretty certain that you saw, as you were walking into this thing, he was actually clocking the time as you went in. So he's probably going to be true to his word and get you out in about 10 minutes. But you managed to fly through, take every bit of information you can and copy it. And from your process, you are pretty damn certain you left no fucking trace. And by the time you get to the end of it, you glance down at the time on your phone.
I have barely anything, so he's gonna kick me out.
Yeah,
soon,
you are probably looking at about 20 seconds left until he
Can I on those 20 seconds can just put mask as invisible that super user I created. Leave it dormant, just in case I need to do this again. And it'll be a lot easier for next time. I'll just keep it there. It's unconnected to the network as I did it.
Okay.
But it's still overseeing the information.
Because you got 5 successes, yes.
We'll need to get
Only
it's fine.
because you got 5.
Yeah.
Sorry? Oh, we will need it again. I'll be coming back.
Okay. Yeah, so as you manage to get this information off, as you pull away and try and hide any trace that you've done anything to this, the door turns up.
And he sees me completing the unhooking. Thank you very much. And now I know I owe nothing to that Jim bastard. I hope you're in the same situation.
Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, Jim. And then he begins moving off after you. The moment that he's got you in stride, fucking out.
Yeah, I get squirted all the way out.
Yeah.
But I know my way in and out because I've been there. I get out, I walk straight to my motorcycle, get around on the bush, sit down, open the laptop, check where is it being kept.
Okay. It's not far away. I mean, the evidence room in a building this place, I mean, it's large enough, but most of the evidence is kept largely in the same place. By getting the number, you could pretty much get in, grab it, and get out. Provided... I mean, obviously you're going to be interacting with doors and stuff to be able to get in, so it's not just going to be as easy as just walking through, taking it, and walking out. But you know where it is. I mean, the information you pulled, it's pretty easy to find out where the skull is.
Brilliant.
At the moment, most of the remains are, based upon what you read, they're still being studied. They're still being investigated.
Excellent.
I
also have the version tracker for information that has been shared. Who has it been shared with?
It's been shared with all the police departments.
Okay. But basic document information, nothing on reports, nothing on pictures yet.
In terms of what the evidence they've shared out?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've shared everything.
Okay.
It seems like they are very quick to share this information with the other stations. I mean, it's quite unnerving actually. And one of the things that they flag in the report is the damage that's done to the ribs. And as you're kind of going over the quick things that you notice, the mention of the fact that there was a bullet in the wall taken from a firing stance at someone head height, and then they they estimate a height in there, which you actually note is pretty fucking spot on for Jim's height. The fact that they note that Stephen was someone that was dishonorably discharged from the military, and therefore his service record is noted in the fact that he was a very good shot. So they are pretty certain that's
the shot he would have taken.
That's the height that it should have been, and that he took it from a kneeling stance. They also note the fact that the injury sustained is very different from the injury, much smaller in scale than the one that occurred in Hyde Park on the 29th of December. So even though the media is suggesting that they're linked, they don't believe it is, but they do believe that that this was, well, they know it's going to be a murder because the weapon wasn't recovered after he took the shot. It's also noted that he died pre-burned. It's also noted as well that the gunshot that was heard, the timestamp they have on there is pretty damn accurate from what you can recall. They are...
Probably we got the call a few minutes later, tops.
Basically, they are just cycling through little bits and pieces. They are noting that someone is trying to emulate those details. But they also note, curiously, that the details of Will's body and how it was found, and the details of the other body were not released to the public. And yet someone tried to emulate the deaths. It's all there in the report, and all of this has been sent to the different stations. That is all you managed to check in the time that you have. Jim.
Well, I'm coming outside with.
You are still outside with everybody else. You've seen Moses come out. You've seen a detective sergeant standing at the door, looking for all the world like you have really just shat in his cornflakes. And he just goes back inside without another look. But as he stops next to the window, he looks at you and just goes, and turns and walks off. You guys are now outside.
Oh, I've left.
You've left? Okay.
You've
You've left.
Around.
You're outside on your own. Moses, you've seen come out.
I gotta go to Moses. Do you get what you needed with that?
I am still
You're in the
browsing
bush.
through everything, and I go like,
Yeah, I'm guessing you left it back.
have a very slow read, because this is the fuck up you got us into.
I'm guessing you also.
I am going to finish something.
I'm guessing you also have a way back into the system more easily now.
I'm going back in. I'll see what I can do.
Sure.
First, I have to switch the skull. Something happened in Hyde Park that either involved a very, very large vampire or something a lot creepier that also happens to put its fangs in people's skulls. So that skull there, it's a lot more dangerous now.
Yeah.
And after that, I have to check how can I corrupt the information, because it's been shared all over the police stations in less than 24 hours. That is insane.
On another note, to ease your conscience, the rest of Tyler's remains are dealt with. The bones are crushed and scattered.
Dios mío, dame paciencia para aguantarlo, porque si me da fuerza lo mato a coñazos.
What did you just say?
The flesh has been incinerated. The rest of the bones are powder and scattered over a graveyard. There are no other remains of Tyler Adams aside from that skull you have.
Which is our getaway car for pretty much anything. Next time you have the brilliant, massively intelligent idea of doing something without consulting me, don't. And I started walking.
Next time, don't go to fucking deal with the body by mutilating it. Let's just get the body out of there.
I just walk out towards the police station.
Now back Raven.
Hopeless, really, aren't they?
The only way to pull this one off, I only have the one backpack.
Okay.
With a skull.
We'll deal with that in a moment.
Okay, cool. I was like, stop midway to the roll.
Benjamin.
Hello.
Benjamin.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, of course it will be. Of course it will. What, for me?
Not for
Maybe
Benjamin.
for you. You pull up next to the gallery.
Yeah.
At this point, your familiar haven, this sanctuary that is and you rush up towards the steps and you open the door and step through. And as you go through, you can see one of the people that works for your sire. She is currently against the wall, and as she turns and looks at you, you can see that she has a very nasty cut down the side of her face. And as she looks at you, she's about to say something when you hear it sounds like a vase being smashed, and then a glass, and then what sounds like wood being broken coming from the other door. And just as she's about to say, leave, she stops when you hear, get back in here! I need to go. And she turns and marches towards the door, and then opens it and then shuts the door behind her.
I, again, probably will hate myself for saying this, but I think you said there was something which you were going to deal with later. Is it later than this later? Or is it now? I don't know if it's relevant now or later than now. I just thought it might have an impact on the scene.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it most definitely might
Right?
have an impact.
Right? So it might affect whether I go in or not, or if I do, how I behave.
Can I dare say, if it happens, it will definitely have an impact.
Yeah, it will.
I'm trying to recall which one came to mind.
Yeah, if you listen closely, viewers, you'll hear the evil cackling going around with Nest's head at this point.
Yeah, I can see the wheels turning.
No, it's only Moses who
That is
hasn't had
terrifying.
one.
I know. Well, we're taking a turn each session, or two. So you're next.
No,
Yeah,
I'm on this one. I'm gonna be doing like a gazillion rolls, and I'm at hunger 3. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave you guys to, you do you.
What I got? Spice.
I tell you what. I hope you liked your windows how they were, right? Because they're not gonna be that way long.
I locked up, mate. You're not lockpick, man.
I have.
Mm-hmm.
And are you gonna do favours for
No,
me?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I didn't know what it was going to do for me.
Who knows? Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you... Oh God.
Not look.
Yeah, don't look at this.
Tempting, isn't it? So very tempting.
Oh, okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just making sure.
No, you're not.
Okay.
It's the one that's most fitting given when you rolled that fail.
Yeah. Yes. All right, I will stop.
This has steadily been building. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
it's not you are aware of it. It is just, it's almost like a series of switches have just slowly been clicked
This is a compulsion.
until you got to the end of the line. Just as you came in, and the moment you saw her and saw how small she seemed when she went through the door, the last one clicked, and all of a sudden it's.
I will stop and look in the direction of, like, as if I'm looking through the door for a moment. And then I will turn and walk out.
Okay.
And get back in my car. And put loads of distance between this place.
Okay. As you start to leave, you can hear more noises coming from in. More. There's no shouts. There's almost like bestial snarls. And you can hear, particularly with your senses, the sounds of something being ripped. And then something else being ripped. And then something else being ripped.
Okay. No, I'll stop.
Until it's someone.
I'll go back in.
Okay.
That's probably too much for me just to ignore. I'll go back in.
Okay.
And I'll knock on the door.
There is the moment that you hear coming from where your knuckles rap upon the wood. There is just silence from the other side, apart from the whimper that comes from somewhere else within that room. Come in.
I'll go inside.
At the center of the ruins of this gallery, and by ruins I mean there is a hole that has been punched in the wall. Vases are smashed upon the ground, and pictures have been taken down and ripped. Pieces which you know to be valuable. Pieces that you know to be one of a kind ripped, including your own. And the only thing in this room that you can really notice that is in some way whole is the aide to your sire, who is just sat very, very still, trying not to draw his attention, just glancing up at you as she is just trying to be as small and motionless as she can. At the center of the room is Edmund. His hair no longer tied back. He looks disheveled. He looks... I mean, his suit makes him look like he's prepared for a night out. It's very smartly dressed, but that is pretty much where it stops. He is very still. His expression is dire, and he is holding what looks to be another vase, and he is just staring at it. And his hair is just down around his face, and he is otherwise just not moving. And then he glances up at you. Benjamin, Benjamin, Benjamin. Leave us, woman. And she quickly gets up and darts out
Oh wait, look at it. Just look at him.
Why am I surrounded by these talentless hacks? And I put them on. I immortalized them to be laughed at and mocked. Are you laughing at me as well, Benjamin?
No.
And he takes this face and he sets it down, almost as though toying with the idea of launching it, whether at you or somewhere else, and he just sets it. They all came and they told me that they loved what we had on, that they saw what I meant when I said there was truth in your art, but they saw something else. They saw a lie, a laughable offense. And it's me they're laughing at, Benjamin! I thought bringing you here would make things different, but it's not different. It's the same. It's always gonna be the same. I thought you had learned. I thought you had learned what I wanted. What you wanted. There is only one bit of truth in each and every one of these pieces, and it's the bit you can't stand to do! And he tosses out just clusters of trinkets that he has in his pockets and just throws them down, adding to this debris that's strewn around this room.
Edmund, Michael lied to you.
Did he?
Yes.
Or are you lying to me now?
No.
You wouldn't lie to me, Benjamin, would you?
No. I would never lie to you.
'Cause I'd know, Benjamin.
Yes.
Come. And he embraces you. And he embraces you tight. There is a. I mean, it's a familiar gesture.
Yes.
But it's an uncomfortably tight one. And the way he pins you, and you can feel his mouth at your neck. There's a moment where you start to almost inadvertently turn, but he is almost vice-like the way he holds you. If you ever do lie to me, Benjamin, I will gut you. And then he releases you. Oh, what have I done? Oh, they weren't all bad, Benjamin. They were laughing at me. Just as Michael Chaser's laughing at me.
He lied to you.
They were all laughing at me.
I'm not laughing. Edmund. I'm not laughing.
I have nothing to show the Primogen. I have nothing to show him. The piece I asked you for, Benjamin. You're working on it. And it will be spectacular. Promise me it's going to be spectacular.
It's going to be spectacular, but...
That makes me so happy, Benjamin. I appear to have made quite the mess. Well, I suppose I can always get it cleaned and we can start again. We'll start again, Benjamin. And with your art and the Primogen, he will... How is she doing? The one of the subject of your art.
She's restored herself. But I have already got what I need.
But would it be true, Benjamin? Will it be true if it's not? If it's not true, Benjamin, make it true.
And he gets up and he shakes himself. Making himself erect, makes himself more Edmund-like in posture, more confident. And even though there are still red streaks from the occasional tear that he shed, his pained expression just slowly ebbs away. And he just considers all the art around him as though, oh dear, oh well. And steps over some of the debris, steps over some of the mess, goes over to the room where the aide had run. Excuse me, Benjamin. And he takes the door and he opens it and then steps inside. I will be right back. And shuts it.
So my eyes will go to my broken painting that I just painted. And stay there.
Paintings.
Yeah, I think obviously all of them, but the one that I was most kind of pleased with lately, I think I'll fixate on that.
There is no sound coming from the next room. And there is a long pause. And even with your hearing, you can't pick up on anything.
Mm.
And then, after a moment, the door opens, and Edmund steps back out, and he has a hanky that he's just... Well, I'll be sure to get this cleaned away in time for your unveiling, and the Primogen will have to be notified. Dear. Are you okay, Benjamin? You look forlorn.
I'm fine.
Well, you know what you need to do to ensure the Primogen is satisfied. I trust you will not let me down in this.
I won't.
And when you do your piece, your next piece for my gallery, I will ensure I invite that Michael Chase. And I will rub it in his face, and he will weep on the inside. And I'll be the one laughing, Benjamin. And you'll be the one laughing with me.
Yes. I'll be laughing.
Excellent. Well, I suppose I'd better find someone to tidy this up, so I will bid you good night. I will need another one of those mobile phones. If you can secure one for me. Mine's somewhere.
I'll see to it.
Excellent. Excellent, Benjamin.
Good night, Edmund.
Good night, Benjamin. And he goes and picks back up the vase and just steps over everything else and just moves back towards that room and then shuts it again. And then there's silence. And there's silence that follows you out as you leave the gallery. Where are you going now?
I'm going back to the crossed hands. Okay. Hypothetically, if I did nothing else but paint my arse off, could I finish the Katia painting before tomorrow? Or possibly before the end of the following night?
If it's not a progressive piece that you're adding to, it would be a test against a difficulty. If you achieve that difficulty, then yes.
Ha, okay.
But it will be high, because you know what his expectations are.
Yeah.
So to paint something of that degree would be...
Yeah.
You're looking at about 5 successes.
Yeah, okay. I will...
And that's just to get it finished to a standard where he's not going to just...
Yeah. Like, rip my head off.
Yeah,
That's
if you
fine.
get more than 5, then it'll get progressively better as a piece. I mean, that's the benefit of extended successes. It takes longer, but they add up. If you're just trying to hit it in one hole, it's against a difficulty.
Okay, I will... We're back to the crossed hands then, I guess.
Okay. There's... The drive back is odd. It's almost like you're seeing the city through a different light. And it's strange. I mean, it's not unnerving and it's not scary. It's not anything, really. And you're just observing the way things are around you, and it's odd. Your drive, therefore, takes a little bit... it would have taken a little bit longer than normal, but there is a single-mindedness with which you're just following the route. And before long, you come back to the crossed hands. Come back to this run-down Georgian building. And you observe it again, as though for the first time, and it's odd. Just how little a purpose it serves. I mean, yeah, you sleep there, but... And you step through the door, and there's Mrs. Morovsky, still looking at her paper. She doesn't even seem to look up and notice you. Or by the time she does, you've already gone back to your room. Okay, we will handle your role in a moment.
Yeah.
Moses, you've headed back inside the police station.
Yeah, but I'm not going through the door.
Okay.
I case the police station from the outside.
Okay.
How complicated it is.
It's a police station, so it is going to be complicated.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be flyman, like climbing or anything. First story window that might be open. Anything that I can see, like on the first story or in the second story, anything that I can get an external access. I'm looking at the slightest security breach that would be very, very complicated to do if you were not immortal. With powers of the blood that allow you to like jump.
It's more a case of being. It's not going to be a case that you can't get in. It's going to be a case of getting in without being observed.
Breaking in, yes, obfuscated, yes. I'm breaking in, obfuscated. 2.
keep in mind, I'm pretty certain there are limits to how much you can interact with things. That is the difficulty.
Yes.
Is because
That's
you're
the
going to
thing.
have to
I
get
cannot
through
break
windows.
like a window or anything without revealing my position.
So-
I cannot make any noise, so I have to be very stealthy. But at least right now, I'm invisible.
So, we are going to treat this as observers detect such accidental revelations with a contest of wits plus awareness, or resolve plus awareness for an active searcher, which they're not, versus wits plus stealth. So wits plus stealth from you.
Break-in specialty applies?
It will apply, yes. And then it will be against... I'm trying to think of where you're entering from. It will be against...
Wits plus stealth plus break-in. Okay.
Yeah, so you roll yours. That'll be the set difficulty for the 3 individuals that potentially could see you. If any of them beat it, then obviously they're going to notice as a door's open and an obfuscate will drop. If none of them do, you'll be able to get there and get out. So 3 people will be rolling against yours. So wits plus awareness. Difficulty?
I have...
You are the active character, so they need to beat
Okay, so
this
it's
number.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes.
Okay, so they need to beat 4. That's 3. That's
5.
1.
And here comes the 5.
Excuse me, Sabine. Yes, I'd like to move her back, please.
And that is 4. You win because you are the active character.
Oh my god.
That was a double 10.
Moses' soundtrack for the night is Aerosmith Living on the Edge.
I was thinking Mission Impossible, but yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that
works.
Mission Impossible comes later when I go like.
So, scaling up the side of the building and entering in as quietly as you can. The moment you're inside, obfuscate kicks in, and you are beginning to move, and you seize upon the opportunity to open doors when there's no one around. And on the one occasion where you are about to open a door, you hear footsteps behind you, and you stop yourself just as your hand makes contact with the door handle. And then as you move it away, you turn around and watch just as someone is about a foot away from you, and you step back in a smooth motion that just as he moves past and grabs the door, you move on his coattails and just move straight in behind it. And it takes you a bit longer to get to this place where this skull is held. And not only because you are still, you've never been in here, you're looking purely from basic deduction and from a layout of the station.
Yeah,
you would have pulled out.
and memory.
Yeah. So when you finally manage to get there, and there is someone there that is working over notes, it takes you a long moment of just waiting and observing and watching. So as she's there making notes and moving back and forth and just cataloguing everything, making observations. Finally, a phone buzzes in the next room, and she puts down the recorder that she had and just moves off towards the door, opens it and steps out. And it's in that brief moment that you pick up the skull and put down the other one. Yeah?
I do like the very basic stuff. Like, is the skull like in an evidence bag?
Yeah.
I do the same.
Everything's evidence bagged up.
Yeah. So I just as I move in, since she moved and the door is closing. If I have to like wait a second and then like since I'm not wearing any flappy clothes or anything. If I have to like give a small potence jump to just make it through and then just really slow, grab an evidence bag,
Okay.
put the new skull, and
Okay.
actually no,
It's-
change it from one evidence bag. What I grab is the tag.
Yeah.
The tags that they use.
It takes you a
Same
long...
number, same number,
Yeah.
and all that. I'll take all
Takes you
the
a
time
l-
in the world.
It takes you a long time to get this done. Not only because there's a lot of foot traffic, not only because you really don't want to be heard, it's because of how meticulous you're trying to be about replicating everything. And you set down the skull, and obviously the one big glaring weakness is the fact that this skull is absent to pinpricks.
Yeah.
But aside from that, and the fact that the sizes of the skull are different, it's... I mean, it's 2 skulls. I mean, a casual observer that hadn't been just taking notes on one skull no one's really going to notice.
Yes, forensics is going to notice.
Forensics
but
are
this
gonna
woman
notice, yeah.
is not going to notice until the forensics calls for the skull back.
Yeah.
So I have that.
The moment that she comes back into the room, you slip out past her and you begin retracing your steps, going all the way back to that same window. You allow obfuscate to drop as you open the window because you have to. You're interacting with it, and you step outside and then just go down as quickly as you can. And just move on.
Without dropping obfuscate, without dropping the Mask of 1,000 Faces, because I or is it a different scene?
I believe you can have. No, it's still technically the same scene.
I can have multiple obfuscate. You can have multiple powers of the same discipline active, but you cannot activate both of them in the same round or something like that.
Okay, fair enough.
So just in case Unseen Presence falls, I still have the Mask of 1,000 Faces, and vice versa unless both break.
Either way, you're fine as you come out, and as you're stepping away with the skull, it's quite clear that something's gone on in there when someone observes it, but you are out with the evidence, and it's surprisingly weighty against your side as you're moving off. And Jim is where you left Jim. Jim is.
Well, I left him. I left him next to my motorcycle, so he's probably either if he's not gone.
Jim's gone. So
Jim's gone?
It's just your motorcycle out front.
Brilliant! I just put I put on the backpack that Katya brought me with the skull. It has the same skull. I put everything on the saddles of the motorcycle. Put my helmet. Drive away. Make a long line. Drop all of my equipment first at home.
Okay.
With the exception of the burner laptop.
Yep.
And the burner phone.
Okay.
I bring the laptop to my other haven with the other computers and hook it there.
It's worth noting that you going back and forth and all this is going to take most of your night.
Yeah, but I am going either to my condo or my haven or my other haven or the cross hands. So if at some point I think I'm not going to make it all the way back to the cross hands, I'm in either of the places I can sleep safely.
You'll get there, it just means like...
I'm lost.
Most of this...
I want to be gone for the rest of the night and then reach triumphantly minutes before dawn. It's done. You can thank me tomorrow. You know, it's like I want to make it dramatically appropriate for Moses.
Okay. Katya, you left ahead.
Yeah.
You've gone back as well. So, by this time, you would be the first one to return to the
I didn't go straight back to the haven.
Where did you go first?
I went to check on Will on my way round.
Okay. The moment that you... Are you calling her ahead of time, or are you just...
Yeah, I would call her ahead of time.
She's very quick to answer the phone, and the moment that she hears that you're on her way. The moment that you hear that she hears you're on your way, she seems to perk up immediately in how she in her tone of voice, and agrees that she'll be ready when you get there. It doesn't take you that long to get to Wills, fortunately, and the moment that you arrive, she opens the door, and she's dressed in warm clothes. She doesn't look... I mean, it's surprising, actually, that she is wearing as many clothes as she is. I mean, it must be really fucking hot, especially given the fact that she has such severe burns on her back. But she moves and embraces you the moment that you come in, and then invites you in.
Embrace her back carefully.
She leads you straight in, and she has what based upon the smell is probably, well, you can tell it's wine. Your first glance when you see it is red, but then that goes straight in your mind. You can smell the wine that she's drinking, and she smells of wine herself, so she's had a few bits to drink. But she leads you in and lets you take a seat, or directs you to take a seat, and then sits next to you.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I've just been waiting to hear from you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, it's been alright. I wanted to get through to you sooner, but I wanted to let you rest. I know you've still got a lot of healing to do, and
I'll be fine. I mean, as long as people don't go and give me a bear hug or something, I'll be okay.
You're alright here? You don't need me to pick you anything up?
No. I mean, it's not my legs that are broken. I can go down to the shop. It's not hard.
How's work
going? I know you had a few assignments.
Well, believe it or not, that's I'm trying to get it done. Not to say I'm not happy you're here. I mean, I was getting it done prior to. The wine actually helps me.
I know a few people like that.
Yeah. But I mean, it'll be done in time. I'm not gonna.
To proofread, I can maybe give you a hand.
If you're happy to, I mean.
Of course, I want to help. I've been asking so much of you lately. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you?
You being here is good.
That's kind. I'll have a look over it for you. Maybe I can give you a little hand.
Are you? I mean, I know you said you're okay, but are you?
Yeah.
I hope you don't get angry with me, but I went back to check on the individual. I didn't get his name. I just wanted to make sure that that more questions weren't going to be asked.
Of course.
I called an ambulance and I told them that I'd witnessed someone from within the bar. I told them that it was a large male that had attacked him. I didn't see much about it. I gave them as generic explanation as I could, but he went to the hospital. He's alive, so.
Thank you. I can't tell you how much that. Rests my soul, so to speak.
Well, I was kind of worried that I was overstepping my bounds,
no,
but
no, this is fine. I'm not angry. You did the right thing. I'm pleased you did. Thank you. What would I do without you, Will?
Probably fuck up some more.
Probably. Sometimes.
Sorry,
No, seriously. You should see the rest of us.
They're not getting you in trouble.
Well, not yet. We'll see how it turns out, but all I can say is I'm incredibly grateful to have someone to talk to that doesn't make me want to tear my hair out.
Yet.
Yet. We'll have a look at your work first, shall we?
There's something else I wanted to ask, actually, before we can start. I mean, it's one of the... I'm finding it really hard to focus.
I'll take her hand and hold her hand just to kind of steady her a bit.
She's gripping your hands. It's tight, and she is shaking. I kind of need more.
I thought it had been a little while.
Yeah, and this close to her, you can tell that even over the smell of the wine, and she's clearly had a bit now that you're close enough to, and as you're talking and you're inhaling, there is a sweat on her, and the way that she's gripping at you while still trying to be, because she, as herself, whenever she deals with you, she it's odd in how delicate she seems to act. So not because she thinks that you're delicate in any way, but it's almost like with a reverence where she doesn't really want to. But there is a grip there, almost as though she's afraid you're going to say no or pull away. But the way that she's looking at you is almost apologetic. I mean, I get it if you can't yet, but I mean, it's been a while. So, but yeah, I mean, you've been busy, and I know if you're hungry. Not hungry.
No, it's all right. I suppose I wasn't. It was probably selfish of me to have not thought about it. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I suppose now is as good a time as any.
I mean, only if you want to. I mean, if you need to delay it, I can wait. I mean, you're here, so I thought I'd ask.
Of course, no. Now is now is probably a good time. You know, it won't have to be this way forever. And you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as you need me to do what you need me to do,
Of course, and naturally I want to help you as much as I can, so yes, tonight's fine, and then we'll look over your most recent studies. I'll help you out. If you need any proofreading, you need me to go through anything with you, I'll do whatever I can. And yes, we'll do that. We'll do that tonight. Hopefully it'll help.
Okay. Just say when. And yeah.
Of course.
I was going to offer you a drink, but I just.
No need. All right. And it's something that Katya is very hesitant about.
I know.
Something that clearly makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah. The moment that you've responded and the moment that the tension is suddenly there, she's not looking at you. She's kind of looking at. It's the way that Will does whenever she thinks she's done something wrong. She stops making eye contact and looks pretty much anywhere else. And she's doing that now, but she hasn't released your hand, and there is a grip there. And it's not aggressive. It's not meant to hurt, but it's kind of like she's doing it more. It's almost like she's trying to steady herself, even though she's sat. And then after a few moments when the tension grows, she finally lets go and then goes and grabs the wine and just drinks. The focus still isn't there. And even though she said she's working on her pieces, you can't see any. There's none in the room. It might be in the other room, it might be somewhere else, but you know Will likes her workspace, and it's normally this room. It's not here.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna kickstart those assignments, right? We're gonna get a good headway into them.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. Hold on. And then I take out my little flip knife.
And she goes very still.
And then, very carefully and slowly, I'll open like a very neat cut on my wrist, my arm, and then kind of present to her.
Very slowly, she reaches out and grabs the wrist, and then, almost to look to you to make sure it's okay, she puts her lips over the cut, and then you feel the odd sensation of unmoving, dead liquid within your torso being pulled and pulled and pulled. And there's, whilst it feels strange, and it doesn't have anywhere near the kind of euphoric feeling as the kiss does. It's, in other ways, it's kind of completely opposite. It feels wrong in what you're doing. And seeing Will suckle at your wrist this way, and you feel the grip she has and the fact she's pretty much pinning your wrist to her, and she is basically drinking like a thirsty person, like someone that is dehydrated and on the verge of death from dehydration. It's unnerving, and you want nothing more than to just pull your wrist away. But you get the feeling that if you were to pull it away now, she'd probably fight to keep it there. How much are you going to give her? Just the one?
Just the minimum.
Okay. So...
Is that one rouse check worth?
No, you go up by 100.
Oh, it's just automatic. Nice.
Oh, let me double check that.
This is why I waited.
I'm pretty certain it's a rouse... No, I think it's a rouse check, but let me just double check. Because we don't have our rules.
Say, where's the rules going?
The rules school is on vacation, but
on
there
the
is...
other hand, I'm not often at one hunger. So.
There is...
I mean, that's an exciting place to be, 100.
There's someone running for the post of rule school. I saw him training. There's a picture out there.
Yeah,
that's true.
We'll be uploading the official interview.
Yeah.
Yay! Right, where are you? Ooh, I almost saw you. Apologies, guys. I'm getting better. I've started to memorize where things are.
As you can see, we have books now, like actual.
We have
books
one
now.
book.
One book.
One book. Yeah, we're still waiting for.
Apologies for the plural, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, we want dice as well.
It'll be worth it when it gets here, guys. We just have to remind ourselves.
That'll be a happy day when those
feel
dice
happy
and that
day.
right.
Next month.
One day.
Hopefully. Please don't make me
Only
wait longer.
5 episodes. Only 5 more episodes.
Please
We
don't
do
make me
control
wait
that.
longer.
We're going to
Wait,
be.
yeah.
You want to do what?
I wonder if you could do find on the on
Yes,
this.
you
Yes,
Make it
please,
easier.
because
You're
it
looking
seems
for-
like in retaliation for
I guess
me-
just look up Google and we'll find it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apologies, guys. It is something I need to double check going forward. I did check it previously, but I completely mixed up with something else. Yes, we'll call it for a rouse check for now.
Oi. Roll it. Oh yeah.
My luck totem. Yep.
Okay. It takes
A rouse check's worth of vitae.
Yeah.
Yes. So we did do it right. So she continues to drink, and you feel her pulling further and further. Oh, it's almost pulling you away from your position on the sofa and towards her as she pulls more and more and seems to almost coil in on herself. And at that point, you realise that she's had enough. You make that conscious decision for her, because leaving it to herself, she probably won't stop. And you start to pull away, and she pulls it back, and then with more force, you yank. And she seems to take a hold of herself and releases you and just sits back. And you can see the blood all down her chin and drip down onto her top, and it's on her hands as well. But she just stops and just... Sorry.
It's alright. But that's enough. It's okay. Get yourself tidied up.
Yeah, she
It's
gets
alright.
up and moves off to the bathroom. The moment that she's behind it, she just shuts it. And you can hear no movement on the other side of the door.
What's the login to your computer again? I'll try and get your work up. I can get started.
She comes back out, moves back out. She's still got it, but she just goes up to the screen and just types in Stern, and then moves off, and then goes back into the. She hasn't moved any of it, but the moment she closes the door, you're pretty certain you saw when she came out that she was crying, even though she tried to hide it from you. It's there, and she's moved back into the bathroom and shut the door.
I can't do this all without you. You know, you're going to have to come out eventually.
I am. I'm just cleaning.
All right. Well, you waited patiently enough for me the other night.
More silence. And then after a while, she comes back out. She has the heavier top that she wore. She's now taken it off, and as she opens the door, you can see it in the hamper that's in there, as well as a towel which is bloodied. But her face looks largely clear now. There is a tiny little bit there, but almost as though sensing that you spot it, her tongue daps out and takes it. And then she goes and sits down next to you, and then sits herself up, and then does her best to adopt an air of, oh, nothing weird just happened, but there's still the air of tension there, both from you and from her.
I lean over and very gently give her an embrace again, and as I pull away, I just kind of ghost kissed her forehead, and I say, look, it's not always going to be like this. It's going to get easier, and I'll make sure it turns out right for both of us, okay? You're going to be amazing, and I want to help you get there, okay?
Okay.
Right, now let's get started.
Right. Work. Okay. Where to begin? And then she starts beginning work with you. So I've got time just to double check what you guys are going to be doing to fill in the end of your night. I know what you're doing.
Well, there is actually something else I'm going to do.
Oh, okay.
So I'm setting up my painting so that it's, if you like, I'm facing the door to my room, and it is not by the window.
Yep.
And I'm going to be working, but I'm going to text all 3 of them and say, I'm at home, see me.
See me.
Okay.
For the first night since I moved to the Cross Hands, I ignore a summons because it means trouble. And I immediately try to, like, I just do everything I told you. I leave this very important message for someone who is special and needs to read it. And if I have like the smallest of windows to hunt, I'll take it. Animal blood.
Foggy's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Actually, since I'm going to every single haven, if I see anything from Foggy, or if he's around, I bring him with me. Like, come.
You sent this to Alice.
No, to Lucy.
Lucy's not the one that emailed you.
Oh, it's Alice?
Alice emailed you.
Dude, I go straight to her, hers. Immediately.
Okay, so just the context of what I said.
Dude, it completely changes my... Like, the only reason I have not gone there is because everything else has been more important. What I do after the police station, I still drop by my haven. I will not want to go see Alice with a skull in my backpack.
Okay.
But I do arrive at her at top speed on the speed bike with an extra helmet in case she just wants to ride around town. But it's immediate. Actually, I would reply when I'm on my way. It's like, sorry, got delayed, on my way to you.
Okay.
That's the rest of my night for me.
So Moses.
He's gonna be with a very angry Bruja.
Headed to sea.
Yeah. What's worse.
I was wondering when you responded to it. I was like,
because I thought it was Lucy that had that.
I was gonna say
that kid Bradley. I even mentioned it. I like immediately.
Yeah, I
you
was
said
kind
it.
of like, okay, I might need to address this later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of figuring out, and then we were like a scene later, and I was like, maybe not.
So I'm worried. I'm worried for. I'm worried about Alice. So yes, I'm on my way to see a very angry Bruja.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Benjamin, you've obviously not sent out this message, and you will be focusing on your art.
Sorry.
Is that going to still be about Katya?
It's that piece, yeah. I'm just going to work on that piece relentlessly.
Okay, and that will be difficulty 5 when you make the roll. Do you want to make the roll now, or did you want to make it at the start of the next session?
Don't mind.
Dun, dun, dun.
What would you prefer?
I'm happy for either way, to be honest.
I mean, I'll make it now, I guess.
Okay.
I do reply.
What's this? What my is it?
It will be. I mean, you are pretty much hammering through this. Does this affect your? Does your compulsion affect this in any way? In terms
It's going to give me less dice to roll.
Okay. We will say, because you are basically trying to speed through this without making a mistake, it will be dexterity plus crafts.
It's even worse.
Because this isn't something that you're taking your time when you are trying to speed through this.
Oh, crap. Wow, that's really bad. Okay.
Did you want to roll this now, or did you want to try and shore up your luck for next?
No. I'll roll it now, because I'll potentially carry on the next night anyway. Okay, so I might as well roll for tonight. So
speed painting, difficulty 5.
So...
And your specialty will apply.
Okay, so it's craft specialty and then dex, but take away 1, take away... Okay. Oh no, hang on, no, it's not. It's dex, so actually I'll get dice back, sorry. There we go.
Both?
No.
No, it's a strength painting.
No, I was going to lose 3 dice, but actually I'm going to lose 2 in this instance.
Oh, yes!
Alright.
1, 2, 3.
3 successes.
3?
Yeah.
That's fine. I've got another night. That's fine. I'll take it.
Okay. This piece, by the time you get to the end of it, you are not happy with it.
No, I'm
because
sure.
This was a speed attempt, and it is sloppy by your standards.
I'm just leering
particularly
down
now, when you're looking at it, it is infuriating. Because obviously, if you're working on this in a long term, we'll do extended. But if you're trying to speed through it to complete it, then it's against. That's the reason there's a difficulty involved this time.
Yeah.
If you are trying to do it over a period of time, it will be extended. If you're trying to accomplish it within this dead time,
I was trying to accomplish it by the end of tomorrow night.
Yeah, which is why
we're rushing.
Yeah, which is why I was asking if you wanted to do the roll now or if you wanted to do it next session. But your successes will represent your work over that time.
Okay.
So you do one more roll.
So will I get another roll in it?
I'll allow another one, but it will again be against
difficulty.
5.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it will represent you basically doing a whole new piece because by the time.
So basically, I've botched this one.
Yeah, you've gotten to the point where you are you've gone for it's not because you've rolled successes. It's not complete and utter failure that people will laugh at if they see.
Yeah.
But you've gotten to the point you've gone over it, and there's no point in you going over this again to try and salvage it because you've.
So I have to start a new piece tomorrow, effectively. Okay,
which
so
is another roll.
In that case, when I realise this, I will make a few alterations to the face.
Okay.
And then I will leave it.
Okay. Jim.
Yep.
After you've left and gone back to the hands, you would have gotten a text from Benjamin, just as you would have, but you've ignored it.
Well, I just text back, sorry, I have to take care of something really important.
Okay. So you would have gotten one response.
But I just let him assume I'm still dealing with the skull.
Yeah. And would you have sent a response?
I assume by the time I get this text, I will have been at Will's for some time, considering the concurrent events. So, presuming I'm satisfied that we've had a very productive evening, got plenty of her master's work done.
It's worth noting that she is a fair bit behind.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons.
The work she has done is not to her usual standard, so it will take a while to go through.
So I'm helping her just kind of bring it together and proofread and
so you get a fair bit done between the two of you, but shy of you just doing the work for her,
which I'm not doing.
It's slow but steady work to ensure it's the quality it needs to be. It's slow but steady, but you're making progress, but it's not done.
Okay.
And when your phone buzzes, she does kind of immediately glance at it, and there's more now because she's a little unguarded. There is jealousy flashing across her face the moment they buzz it, but she quickly rectifies it and goes back to working, and doesn't comment at all. What response do you send?
Firstly, I want to gauge, like, obviously this is getting towards the early morning.
Yeah.
Look, we've got a fair amount done tonight. We've still got quite a bit to do, but importantly, you need to make sure you get enough sleep. If you're sleep deprived, your work won't be up to scratch. So, and you're injured as well. So really, considering both of those things, you're doing remarkably well. And yeah, it's coming along great. So, just carry on with it for now. I've got to pop back and see what the latest disaster is.
Can they do it on their own?
If I leave them to do it on their own, we'll end up with, I don't know, a pile of bodies at this rate. Okay. And that'll drag us both down, and I don't want this to impact any more on the time I should be helping you with stuff. If you want, maybe you can bring your stuff over to mine tomorrow night?
Yeah? No, I can do that. I'll probably work better there anyway than in here.
Rad, okay. Well, make sure you get enough sleep, and I will call you tomorrow, I promise.
Okay.
Alright,
I will see you. And she gets up and goes over towards the door. She has those purposefully... it's amazing how transparent she becomes after a feed. It's heightened her attachment. I mean, she's attached to you anyway, but in those brief moments afterwards, it's almost like a very jealous dog when you've just brought a new puppy home. It does not want to leave you alone, and she follows you towards the door, and there is a clear reluctance to let you go. But she doesn't say or do anything to suggest that, but it's just there on her expression.
Okay, give her a parting embrace.
Yeah.
Just sleep, okay?
Okay.
And remember to, if you can apply that burn ointment as well, I don't want to see you in pain, okay?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Alright, thank you, and sleep well.
You too.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Alright, night-night.
Morning.
Yeah. And then hide out.
She waits. You've turned the corner before she shuts that door. But then the door does shut, and you start making your way...
back to the Haven.
Jim, you made your way back. You would have gotten the same text. What was your response?
Look at the phone. He didn't fucking respond to my last summons because Jim hasn't know he actually got there. He's gonna go to the roof and just sit on the roof thinking until he knows it's time to head to sleep.
Okay, so no one answers. Well, they answer, but they don't
Oh, sorry, I would have probably texted back, but very briefly, as in coming home.
Okay. Is there anything you want to say before the end, or do you want to pick this back up?
Might be better to do it next. If you're in rush,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we are running slightly out of time. But
no drop.
Is there anything you guys want to say before we round this off?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Like,
I will.
Only
Thanks,
guys.
Big congrats to Dylan and the technical staff for getting it working without any drops.
Yeah.
We promised it would get done, and we.
Oh my god.
Pardon?
We didn't lose a frame.
Oh,
Nice.
Dylan is our hero at the moment. So Callum, so is Mitch, and so is everybody else.
This time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Malop. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you next Monday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.